All the pretty girls stand up. All the pretty boys stand up.
Pretty boys in the building.
Sway. This right here is my sway. Sway. All the girls are on me. Damn. Everybody pay attention. This right here is my pretty boy sway. 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 Girls on my brain. Pretty sway. Girl, screw my name. Sway. Pretty boy sway. Pretty boy sway. Sway.
Soldier.
Get out the way. Pretty boy coming through.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another stream with Swaggle Haas. We got ourselves another watch along for a Heritage Platinum auction. Some big books. And we have to fire up the camera and we got to commentate and pretend like we're going to buy these $1 million pieces of history. When in reality, we're not going to buy anything. But maybe we'll get a little crazy and we'll FOMO into something. But wanted to say thank you all for joining me today, this morning. I got my coffee. This is going to be a fun show. It's been a little while since I've actually done a live stream. There might be some hiccups here. Really quick, we got to check in with the people joining up in the chat. Let me know if the audio is good for you guys. I had to unplug a bunch of stuff, rearrange a bunch of things. So I don't know. It could just be, you know, a bunch of technical errors at this point. But we got to fire it up. We got to get it going. And we'll see how, you know, people do today. You know, I made that video yesterday. And I thought I made the title, Wallets Are in Danger. And I thought I was being clever. Because it's like, is that wallets for the buyers? Or is that wallets for the sellers? Because as we know, you know, that free money, those $1 million sales aren't so million these days anymore. You know what I mean? Even if it's like a golden age mega key, which we do have a golden age mega key going up for sale today. Action Comics #1, the premier book, first appearance of Superman. You know, next year is going to be all Superman. I usually do that video at the end of the year, you know, for New Year's where I'll talk about like predictions going into 2025. And let me give you guys a little bit of a preview. One of my predictions is just going to be called Superman because we have Superman coming out next summer, which is the start of the James Gunn universe. And the big question is, like, will that be a pivotal moment? Will that be a nexus point into the, you know, kickoff of the DC universe? Will people remember that Superman is the GOAT? I'm tired of people saying that Batman is better than Superman. Yeah, I'll say it right now. Superman is better than Batman. Okay, I just lost like 15,000 subscribers for saying that statement right there. I'm being a little kidding. I'm being a little jokey, but I feel like people forget how awesome Superman can be. I'm not going to say that he's been awesome, you know, but we didn't get a Christopher Nolan Superman, even though we were supposed to. You know, we kind of got like a Christopher Nolan produces Superman. But if Christopher Nolan made a Superman trilogy like he did for The Dark Knight, we might be living in a multiverse where everybody thinks Superman is the greatest superhero of all time. But I don't know. Okay. Ricardo says audio is good. Thumbs up. Awesome. Thank you for that, Ricardo. Really appreciate you. You know, like, comment, subscribe. You got questions? You know, we're going to go for a few hours here. You know, I'm just going to hang out today. I caught up with my Kickstarter. I shipped out all the stuff. Okay, not everything. You know, there's still some packages that need to go out. A lot of the international stuff. Oh God, guys, international shipping, man. But you know, we're back. We're caught up. So I get to like hang out, do the stream. It's gonna be a good time. Let me get another sip of coffee and let me say hello to, you know, everyone here in the chat today. We got GT Key Comic in the house. What's going on? Good to see you, buddy. We got Derek in the house. What's going on? Here we go, boys. Here we go, Derek. What's going to happen today? What's going to happen? We got Louie in the chat. Yo, yo, yo. We got MK Collects in the house. Good morning. I'm sure MK is eagerly anticipating this sale. I'll let you guys hound him about that stuff. Death better than Wink. Chad in the house. I don't know what you mean, Chad. What do you mean by that? We got MJ in the house. What's going on, MJ? From overseas. Good to see you, man. We got Chris in the house. Sounds good. Okay, thank you for that. We got Mike Goodman. Bit of a problem with the audio. I'm hearing you loud and clear. Not sure if that's intended. Is that a joke towards my audio troubles? Okay, here on the Swaggle House channel, we don't like perfect audio. Okay, we like it a little more, shoestring budget, a little more, gritty. It's more authentic. That it's not so polished here. Okay. We got CJ in the house. We got AG agreeing with me that Superman is the man. I agree. We got Jeffrey here. Hey, YouTube told me you were live. Amazing. What up, Mickey? Watching you at work. Shh. Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys can have me on at work. Put me on in the background. I'm just going to, shoot the ish for a while we watch these, books go up for sale. We got about, 8 or 9 minutes before things really get kicking off. I'll do a little bit of a preview of some of the books, and then we'll kind of watch along. We'll commentate. If you guys have questions, we'll talk about it. And let me know if you guys are actually bidding on anything today. But before we get into all of that, before we get into the book previews, I'm just going to play a quick little video from today's sponsor, Dynamite Entertainment. We got some words from writer-creator Ed Brisson on his new Silverhawks comic book series. I got a 1-minute clip to play with Ed for you guys here today. And then after we get back from the clip, we're going to look at some of these books. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. And here is a word from Ed Brisson on Silverhawks.
Hey folks, it's Ed Brisson here. Very excited to be here to talk to you about the new Silverhawks comic book I'm going to be writing. It's the first Silverhawks comic that has been released in 37 years. I'm going to be joined by superstar comic artist George Camdias, who is just doing an incredible job. We've got a murderer's row of variant cover artists, including Jay Lee, we've got James Stocco, we've got Declan Shalvey, Ivan Toe, Lucio Perillo. George is going to be here doing his own covers, of course. And we've got a whole bunch of artists that have not yet been announced, so look forward to that. It's going to be very exciting. If you're a giant Silverhawks fan like I am, please join us in January 2025 to see the further adventures of Quicksilver, Bluegrass, Steelheart, Steel Will, Copper Kid, and Hotwing, and see what sort of chaos that Monstar is going to unleash upon the universe. So I'll see you then. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, here we are. Platinum Heritage Auction. Another session, another year. How many of these have we done? How many times have we had to enhance, and scrutinize the grades on these comic books? I know I have one comic book that I want to analyze and make sure that it is truly a 9.8. We're going to look at this one later on. But before we do, we have to talk about the big boy book, the book that every boy who collects comic books one day dreams about having in their collection. Action Comics #1, origin and first appearance of Zatara. Also, some other characters named Lois Lane and Superman from June 1938. There it is, boys and girls. There it is. The greatest comic book of all comic books, a 3.0, CGC 3.0, cream to off-white pages, currently sitting at $960,000. So the question is this: is it going to hit $1 million? Because sometimes when these auctions start, you kind of get in the situation where the book has already been sort of bid up to the price that it's going to go for, and you don't get many more bids. Sometimes this could double. Like, you really don't know. One of the things is sometimes it's a good sign that a book is hovering really low, but it could be that people are playing mind games, and this gets into the psychology of bidding. I tend to think that in general, these types of books, like in Action Comics #1, probably are, how do you say it? The people who are in play for this type of book probably have already made their bids, and you won't get too many more during the live session. Although that being said, a book like this is not going to sell drastically under its fair market value. You know what I mean? So you know what? Actually, this is a good time. Let me just do this really quick. I'm a little rusty, guys. I'm a little rusty. We need to pull up the pricing guides so that we can cross-reference things as we go. Make sure that things are selling for what they, in theory, should be selling for. Go collect, please. Please. What are you talking about? Hold on, guys. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, my God. Don't make me do it. Don't make me do it. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Oh. Okay. You guys are all like thinking to yourselves, what are you doing right now? I'm trying to log in to Go Collect, and I can't show you guys my password and all that stuff. And my keychain wasn't saved. So now it's saved. Now it's correct. And now I am back in business. Back in business. Okay, if I search Action 1 in the Go Collect search bar, does Go Collect really think that I want this comic book right here? What is this? Does it really think that I want Jungle Action #1? Captain Action #1? How many books down do I have to go before I see Action? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, the 19th search. Action Comics #1. Damn. Superman disrespect is real. All right. Let's search by recent sales. So we had a Purple Label 6.0, 324, 8.0, 576. We got a fake sale right there. 408. We remember this, the bathroom copy for this 0.5, $408,000. $3 million for the 6.0. Here we go. 1.6. Okay, so we had a $1.6 million for a 3.0 cream to off white pages back in December 15th of 2021. That was on Comic Connect. So currently where we sit at $960,000, we got a little ways to go. You know what I mean? We got a little bit of a ways to go. We need to get at least 4 or 5 more bids. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Shout out to Flipmo Comics in the house. Mickey, how's that Bitcoin? I'll tell you this. I'd rather have $960,000 of Bitcoin compared to Action 1. I just lost my other 10,000 subscribers by saying that right there. I don't know, guys. We have a decent amount of bids to go with this book still. 960,000 is where it sits. Last sale was 1.6 million. That was in 2021. So, you know, it's one of those big questions of like, even some of these golden age mega keys might have been semi-inflated in that era of 2021. And so the question is, will it be able to get there? I would say that even if it sells for like, I don't know, 1.2, 1.3, I mean, it's a lot less, but at the same time, it's kind of like, well, that's kind of what we've been seeing, you know, with a lot of these books. So would it be surprising? Would it be like a shock to you guys? Or would it be like, yeah, we all knew that that was going to happen? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. All right, here we go. Here we go. MK with the Dak Prescott. Here we go. We have this one, Batman 11. This is a cool book to look at. 65,000 currently sitting for this top of census cover right here. Let me do a little bit of a refresh so that we're in it to win it. Live now. Okay, Heritage, get me in. And please remember, always disable live bidding. Like, did you guys see that? I think I grazed this. I grazed the bidding button. I'm going to turn off the Auctioneer today because, as you guys know, I can barely get my own microphone to work, let alone the Auctioneer's mic to work as well. So I'm just going to commentate over this. You still make content? Unfortunately, Neo. Unfortunately. We're just on a treadmill. feeding the machine, the algorithm, forever. All right. So, he's just giving a little bit of an intro. Like we said, still a few bids to go. And a lot of other big books. We have a first appearance of Wonder Woman right here. This has been a book that, has been getting those haircuts time and time again. Like I already mentioned, we got the Batman 11, this Captain America Comics #1 out of the 5.5, a very nice Captain America. We got the Detective Comics 27. This is actually the first of 2 Tex 27s going on, although it's a purple label. I'm actually more interested in the 0.5 because of the story behind it, the garage sale copy. We have this beautiful Tech 29 at a 6.5, currently sitting at 78. We got maybe the greatest Batman cover of all time with Tech 31, sitting at 96,000 right now. We got a first Silver Surfer. We got this. This is kind of a funny book to be in Platinum Session #1. Don't you guys agree? Like this Fight Against Crime #20. Like it's a cool cover, but I wouldn't put this in the top 20 PCH books or crime books. It's kind of a strange one to kind of be in this batch. We have this Hero for Hire #1, CGC 98. Now, I personally don't have. Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a minute. Okay, don't right click. You can't right click and open the tab. I personally am not going after this book, but if I had $100,000 to spend, I absolutely would be buying this thing. Hero for Hire 198. Scrutinize. I mean, that's all dust in the case, right? That's all dust in the case. Quality control at CGC, still doing their thing. Top notch. More case dust. I mean, it looks like a 10-0 to me. You know what I mean? This looks like a great book. We got first appearance of Aquaman. That's a thing. We got Police Comics #1. Shout out to you Plastic Man fans. We got a Flash right here. We have Other Worlds or Showcase 17. TMNT #1, double signed. That one's kind of a cool one. 72,000, I think, is actually a pretty strong number for that to be at right now. Although, maybe there's people out there that think that the double sign should be a lot more expensive. So that's session 1. A lot of big books to talk about. A lot of big books to talk about here. All right, let's take a look. We got Neo saying, is this the auction to bid on the scraps of Beckett and CBCS? Oh, man, I got to actually do a video about that. I'm behind. If you guys don't know, go over to Neo's channel. He did some commentary about the Law and Order going on at CBCS. I already have the jokes write themselves. It's like, get Matt Murdock on the case. Get, someone get, Jennifer Walters working for CBCS, because it's just Law and Order over there. It's just the legal side of the hobby. That's all it is. All right, let's check in. Bidding has started. He's at the fair warning. Oh. Oh my God. No bids. No more bids. We needed like 7 more bids. We got no bids. $960,000. Couldn't even hit $1 million. The average home in America is like $1 million right now. Don't you want to sleep in an Action 1? Wouldn't that be better? Man, that's crazy. Oof. What do we say, guys? What do we say? Back here, Comic Connect, December 2021, $1.6 million. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big difference. Albeit 2021 price. I mean, can we compare? How do we feel? Look, a little bit of dirt up there, a little bit of, well, it's the colors. right? I would pay $600,000 more for this copy, right? Because of the colors, guys. It's the colors. It's the colors. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. We're going to 0. All right. We got All-Star Comics number 8. Just closed there. Let's take a look. Zoom in. What did that sell for? $60,000. That doesn't sound like a lot of money to me. What do you think, guys? All-Star 8. $60,000 sale. Let's take a look here. 6.0 copy. Is that what we said? Let's look at some recent sales. You know, the colors on this copy probably weren't as good. You know what I mean? The colors probably weren't as good. Uh-oh. This session, we're not off to a great start. But I'll tell you this, we do have a new world record for Batman 11 in a CGC 9.4. Beautiful copy of this cool Joker cover. I don't even need to look it up. I already know that this is going to be the record. You want to know why I know that? Because this is the book, it's the top of census. You know, so if I go over here, Batman 11, I'm already knowing that this is going to be the highest priced ever paid for this book. Boom. 65,000 back in 2016. Ain't got nothing on this. See, guys, you know what I mean? See, everything's great. Everything's rosy. Southern Comic Geek, what's up, man? Someone is crying on that Action 1. Are they crying or are they, you know what? Someone is crying, but is it sad tears or happy tears? Wallets will be hurt today. Question is it for buyers or for sellers? That is the big question. Everything is great. You know what the thing is? Everyone is saving their money for a book to come. Everyone's saving their money for a book soon to come. That's what's happening right now. I just saw him. So it's funny. I can't hear it because I don't have the audio on. But I saw him do the little, like, you know, I was just looking at the Captain America and then I saw the Auctioneer and he just went like this. And I was like, that means he closed, you know, and then I looked at the book and I saw that it was only at 168,000. And I swear there were copies that were like 3.0s and 2.0s selling for like that price off the top of my head. Captain America Comics number 1. I got to say, this is my ultimate grail, you know, and if the prices are doing that, like maybe one day I'll be able to get it. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll be able to get it. A 5.0 copy. Oh, okay. I'm tripping. 5.0 sold for 180. So, you know, a 5.5 selling for 168. That's basically triple. That's basically triple the price right there. You know, it's funny. I feel like the incremental steps, like the 5.5s, the 6.5s, the 4.5s, the 3.5s, they rarely pay or they rarely sell consistently over the what do you call it? The 0.0 counterparts, meaning the 4.5 and the 4.0, you see a lot of times, like they kind of sell for the same price, even though in theory you could say, well, the 4.5 is like, you know, half a point better. I don't know. Things get kind of blurred because I feel like there's an emotional like line that people hit where it's like, once you're a 4, you're a 4, 4.5, same thing. Once you're a 5, you're a 5, 5.5, same thing. 6.5, same thing. I feel like it's only until you get to like maybe 7.5 or 8.5 that you really consistently see the incremental price increase. Let me know if you guys think that that's true. That's something I kind of notice. CJ says, economy is great, folks, unless you're selling an Action 1. I'm going to reference flip mode once again. I think I would rather have taken that money and put it into Bitcoin. Derek says, Heritage going to give this guy the hook, get their closer in. Usually he's actually one of the best guys, you know, but that's how you know the team's struggling. Not even Mariano Rivera can get the save at this point. If that Action 1 seller bought BTC instead, it would be like 5 million. I know. Southern Comic Geek asks, you going after anything in this auction? In truth, there are a couple of books, clearly not in this session for me, but there are a couple of books in session 4, which is on Saturday, that I am looking at. Yeah. And also there's actually a couple of art pieces that I'm also kind of eyeing and stuff, but we'll see. I'm not like, they're kind of like those, like, oh, it'd be nice to have. And if the price is right, you know what I mean? It's not like I have to have it. I just totally dated myself. Like, isn't that funny? That's like the first person I thought of was Mariano Rivera. Like, I just clearly those Yankees teams were the most influential to me. All right. He's still working the Detective Comics 27 here. Currently sitting at next bid 240,000. I feel like he's definitely struggling. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't look enthused. He doesn't look like he's got, as the kids say, aura right now. His aura is a little bit dim. And it could be that he's not feeling great with these last couple sales right here. But this is a tough book because, I mean, look at how much work, like, you guys can just see, like, even without the fine print, you can already tell. Like, restoration includes color touch pieces added, tear seals, reinforced, cover cleaned, back and cover married, all of this stuff. You call it the Frankenstein book. So it's really hard to tell what a book like that should be valued at. Apparently it's valued at $228,000. You know what I mean? So if I go over here, Detective 27, and we take a look at, what that sold for, let's compare it against a couple other Resto books. I mean, again, it's really hard to evaluate purple labels. Well, a 7.5 sold for $350. Which one was that one? This was a 5.0. So it probably sold for what it should sell for. You know what I mean? And what is this one? This is a 8.5, 242. That was 2018. Yeah. So I would say that was probably the right price, generally speaking, for someone to pay for that book. These are the types of books right now that I think are getting high dollar amounts in this market. And what I mean by these types of books, it's almost like, the saying, like, your favorite whatever's favorite whatever. It's kind of like your favorite comic collector's favorite comic. Your favorite comic's favorite comic. It's like, yeah, Detective 27, sure. If you want to buy that, go ahead. But, if you want more cool points, you should buy Tech 29, because it's not the main thing. There's like that counterculture element to it. Anyways, I say all that to say this. I feel like these types of books are the ones that are doing pretty well in this current market. Like the ones that are like a hardcore comic collector that has to know the nuances and like has to know these books, the more eclectic stuff is doing very well because this is the stuff that the forever collector knows about. And this is the one where they're putting their money, where it's like a Tech 27, even a casual person who doesn't collect comic books might know about that one. Or if you have like some billionaire, like that's obviously going to be the one that they buy. Like they're not going to spend the money on the Tech 29. Anyways, I think that right now, a lot of these types of books are doing well for that reason. Tech 29, let's take a look. Let's take a look if my theory is correct. Tech 29. Clicking over here. Can we go in? Go collect? Can we get in this? What did it sell for? 120,000. That was a 6.5 copy. Let's take a look. And yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. 102,000 for this 5.0. So, 20,000 more dollars, go up to 1.5 more points. I mean, at least it's not lower, right? At least it's not lower. A 5.5 for 81. So actually that's actually, I would say that's a really, really good one. Really good sale. So again, the theory holds true. It's the other tier books that a hardcore collector would know about, that's where the hardcore money is going. That's the theory. That's the theory. Quasi says, so Mixer, after seeing the performance of Heritage Auction and with David's from Comic Book Investments Albedo 2, what auction house would you use to sell your double cover of Darkhawk #1? Ooh, good question, Quasi. You know, it's hard to say. Like, at the end of the day, I think your book is going to get what it gets. And it's really hard to know, like, will this auction house do better or worse? I don't know. It's like I've seen Comic Connect sell for the highest. I've seen Heritage sell for the highest, and I've seen Comic Link sell for the highest. I think a book like Darkhawk 1, I definitely would not put that in a Comic Link auction. No disrespect to Comic Link. I think that Comic Link, that would be like a more eclectic book. And there's already so many opaque things going on in Comic Link that I wouldn't want it to be there. Maybe I would put it on Heritage, to be honest. But here's the thing. No one's going to, it's not that much. I'd be better off listing it on eBay, to be honest. That's actually what I would do. I wouldn't even auction it, although it would go for $10 million. Southern Comic Geek says, you going after the first Deadpool page? Yeah, that's actually the big news of this sale is the first Deadpool page. Rob Liefeld, I think, who's the owner, put it up for sale. You know, we saw the cover sell, and then now it's like the interior art. I think that's going to go up as well. So that's going to be pretty cool to see what it goes for. Let's see here. He has that. This is the last thing I have to do before I start my Thanksgiving vacation energy. It's true. It's true. He's trying to go home already. I bet Luke Cage doesn't break 30K. Big haircut from the all-time high of 102K from 2022. Derek, don't say that. Don't say that. Shh. We have to manifest. We have to manifest, guys. We have to manifest. All right, it's coming up here. Let's see, $174,000 for Tech 31. I don't know what the fair market value is, but I promise that that's a big number. FF 4898 selling for $66,000. I think that that's probably in line to the last couple sales. I know that this was a book that was also going for six figures and then has had its pullbacks going all the way back down to 60. So that feels like it's pretty much in line. And when there's like 48 copies of that at 9.8, I mean, it was bound to happen for that one in particular. All right, we have this crime, horror, terror going on right now. Let's take a look. He's trying to get it. Again, interesting book. Kind of a weird one to put in this session. I mean, I guess that they have like another Tech 27, and I think there's even another like Cap 1 or something like that. So I understand that they probably wanted to diversify the types of books that were in this first session because this is the premiere one that most people are watching. But at the same time, I don't know, just feels like a funny one to put in here. This is like, in my opinion, the poor man's Crime 22. You know, you got the decapitated lady, but it's less tasteful because in Crime 22, you actually don't see her neckline. Okay, here we go. Here we go, guys. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Now, again, Hero for Hire, #1, greatest superhero of all time. Yeah, I said it. He's the greatest. This is the greatest book ever made. All black cover, tough to find this. Good luck finding this in the wild at a comic book store. Never would happen. Impossible. We need more bids. Bid it up. Currently sitting, you know, in the, above 40,000. We'll have to see how it goes. Need the auctioneer to get a little more animated here. Get a little more into it. But yeah, pretty interesting one. This book, you know, it's tough to get these ones. I actually found a 9.6 myself. Remember that? I found a raw 9.6 copy. Oh, we got another bid. Slug it out. I found this book in the wild, got a 9.6, was pretty awesome, actually. But a 9.8 is pretty amazing. I think that there's 8 on the census. A lot of these books, like the Bronze Age ones, these black picture frames things, it's similar to like a Marvel Spotlight #5. Remember that one, guys? Selling for $250,000. How crazy is that? Like, there's no way that would sell. Okay, hammer close. $48,000. What a steal. What a steal. Should have sold for $100,000. Should have sold for $100,000. But you know what, guys? You know what? We can't be too sad. We can't be too sad because $50,000 is still a lot of money, even compared to the previous sales of $64,000 and $102. But it was a $24,000 book in 2016, so we're doubled it. I mean, we're good, guys. We're good. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Oh, here we go. And surprise, guys. That was MK's book. That was his book. MK, congratulations. Honestly, not an all-time high. But if you think about it, that is the third highest sale to ever happen for that book. Yeah, it's a win no matter what. You crushed it. Maybe MK, go follow him, guys. Maybe he'll tell you the story. He found it in the wild. They're still out there, guys. They're still out there. They're still out there. Miguel says, what a disaster. What a disaster. But at the same time, I'm sure MK did all right. I'm sure he did all right. Let's see. What else is you guys saying here? Spotlight 5 is the toughest cover to get in high grades. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's the case. Like, even compared to the Hero 1, like, there's 8 9/8s on the census. And then Marvel Spotlight 5, there's only 4. So they're both black covers. They're both from, I think, the same year. So for whatever reason, the Spotlight 5 is just that much harder. And I wonder if actually there's less because, I would guess that even back in the 70s, a #1 issue, more people were willing to give it a chance where it's like, oh, it's Hero for Hire #1. Cool. I'll check it out. So I would assume more of those sold compared to like Marvel Spotlight 5. It's like you're already 5 issues deep on a more obscure title series. MK says, I think that's the right price for that book, honestly. So yeah, there you go. There you go. Maybe that'll be interesting to talk about too. I don't know if you guys would be curious about this. Actually, Flipmo could say this too. I've been meaning to, I've never consigned a book to Heritage or Link or Comic Connect. And I kind of want to and do a video about it just to have skin in the game, because I just feel like that would be a good video that's useful to just put out there. Like, oh, what is consigning a book like? And then like show you all the steps, like the legal aspect to it, how it works, how you get paid, what percentage, what fees, what's that negotiation process like? What is it like to get your book? For instance, like MK's book, they put it in session #1 at the Platinum Heritage, at this sale. But like in theory, if they wanted, they could have just put it in the weekly auction. I mean, they would never do that, but like there's a whole process there, right? And so there's kind of an interesting thing, and maybe that would be a good video to do at some point. MK said, "Oh, I would love to talk about it. It was definitely an interesting experience." Okay, cool. We kind of messed up, actually. I feel like maybe we should have, we could have documented this whole thing, like from the start to now. Because you guys know, MK and I are friends here. He's been on the channel and we've done our comic sales together and stuff. But like, yeah, when he found that book, he told me right away and he sent me, he got the, I don't know if you guys submit to CGC and you get like they adjust your prices. And it's like all of a sudden, oh, CGC charged me an extra $300. And it's like, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. All right, let's get back into it, guys. What do we have here? Actually, before we do, let me back it up. Let's take a look at this Detective Comics number 31. I feel like this is a massive number. Like, it has to be. Detective 31. These two texts really crushed it. Let me go down here, take a look, load it up. So 2.5 sold for 90, 1.566. Do we have anything that's higher grade? Not really. A lot of 2 sales. Okay, so in 2020, a 5.0 sold for 132, and now a 4.0 sold for 174. But that was 2020, though. A lot of books have kind of doubled since then, even with pullbacks and corrections. So I think that this is a big number that is maybe not out of the realm of possibility, having gone into this auction, it was going to be hard to tell. I mean, because 90,000 for a 2.5. So maybe that's actually massive. And it's probably a massive number, to be honest. It's probably massive. It's big. It's big. Everyone buy techs. Only buy techs. Again, I think the money of the forever collector are going into these types of books. Everyone, you have to think of it. Here's the thing. I know this doesn't like to, I try not to talk about crypto too much on the comic book channel, but comic books are similar to crypto, where it's just like there's no underlying fundamentals to what makes these things sell. All that makes these things sell is basically belief in the hobby itself, which is much like crypto and stuff. I mean, there's in theory fundamentals, but not really. So when you're in a down market, everything just goes to the more safer thing. So people just move all their money from modern age to copper, from copper to bronze to silver to gold, and then from gold to more obscure. And it's really like these types of books that, the dealers are buying and moving their money to, or the collector that's like really hardcore. That's the one that they're buying. They're selling off their showcase number 4 because they're like, oh, I'll find showcase 4 again, but a tech, I won't. They're selling off their FF48 to get the tech. That's just how it works. So it's a lot of those types of books that are doing the best in this market. All right, let's take a look at Aquaman here. More Fun 73. Let's hop in. Let's see if Aquaman gets it done. I mean, this is a triple key. It's Aquaman, but it's also Green Arrow and it's also Speedy. So, that's a thing. What did this sell for? 144. So 144 on a 8.0 copy with a QES sticker, which is worth at least $100,000 in and of itself. A 6.5, 120, a 7.0, 114, 144. Not bad. Not bad. I mean, this book was at 192 once upon a time at a 6.5, and then it went to 102. What happened there? Obviously the same book. And then somebody obviously was like, hey, I paid way too much. No way am I actually going to write this check. And then they phoned it in, or they resold it. Police Comics number 1, 43,000. Showcase 4, 8.0 copy, 72,000. Should we take a look at that one? Showcase number 4. I'm curious where books like this are at. First Silver Age comic book. How is a book like that doing, even now and today? 72,000 as an 8.0, 72 as an 8.0. Let's take a look. 6031, 6538, 55, 75, 9096, 7562. What do we say? 72? Yeah, it seems good. It seems good. So we had some big not so goods to start the auction, and things were looking grim. And then it becomes a Rorschach test after that, depending on your outlook. If you're, doom spiraling, or if you assume the correction baked into every single book, then you're sort of like, yeah, it's selling for what they all should be selling for. You know what I mean? Shout out to Comic Ozzy in the house. What's going on, Comic Ozzy? Miguel asks, do you think any other books will get to 100K? You mean in this session here? Probably not. I'm going to assume that once you get to session 2 and 3, like if there was a book that was worth up to 100K, they probably would have put it in session 1. I don't think that there's any books that are going to get to 100K. Maybe the UF4 Djurjevic variant. That might actually get to 100K.
You serious?
No, I'm not serious. Okay, so we have showcase number 17. That seems like a big number, 92, 84,000. Hey, 84,000 for TMNT number 1. Double signed. people are going to say that that is a weak sale for that book, but I don't know, guys. Like, this is one of those ones where, like, this shot up so much, you know what I mean? And even at, there's 38 copies out there. It shot up so much, so fast with like everything else. In 2019, it was $64,000 book, and then it went up to 264,000. So if you kind of lop off the COVID graph, like it's kind of, this is right, where it's selling 87, 87, 120. But people will say, I mean, dude, that was a double signed book. And if you guys don't know, Peter Laird, he doesn't really sign that many comics anymore. And I think that, someone was telling me, I think he did his final signing. Like he wasn't going to go to cons anymore. I don't know. Maybe he's going to take like a few years off, but I don't know. I just feel like, when you're like thinking to yourself, it'd be sure nice to remodel my pool. Maybe I should do a CGC signing. We'll get more signatures there, but maybe that's a big book for somebody. We got Pulps right here, Shadow number 1 at a 1.0, selling for $26,000. Now we kind of get into the interesting books. Action Comics number 2, $15,000. This actually has a preview panel for Tech 27. One panel ad for Detective Comics 27. Predates Tech 27. What do you guys think? First appearance of Batman right here? Maybe. Controversy. Let's check in with the chat here. Of course, other books will hit 100K. Well, Max, in this session, I'm not sure if there's other books that are of the 100K variety. Oh, wait. No, there's the Tech 27. Yeah, the Tech 27 is going to hit 100K. And then this Batman one. Yeah, you're right. I'm tripping. My bad. Yeah, there's a Tech 27 and there's a Superman 1 coming up. Yeah. My bad, guys. My bad. I forgot. Oh yeah, did the 35-cent Star Wars 1 sell? It did not sell yet. So we're gonna take a look at that one. I don't think that's not a 6-figure book though. Let's see what else here. We got that's going to look a sweet slabbed. I've always thought it was an underrated book. True. Let's see. 98K. Hold on to your butts, folks. Hold on to your butts. Having the time. It's going to be a mental hurdle. It's like there's going to be a lot of people selling, taking gains at that number. So like it's going to be tough to break through that 6-figure mark. But if it does and it breaks through it, no one's selling at that point. You know what I mean? Like, because at that point, it's like, well, damn, let me ride this wave. So it's like a really feast or famine mental number that will be interesting to watch and see what happens. Swag's the GOAT. Buy them all. You're right. I should just be spam bidding like this. Just nonstop. Don't care. Buy it. All right. Let's get back to the books. So we had a Action Comics number 13, Superman Saves the Train, a 1.0 for $12,000. Damn. This is a 5-figure entry book. This early action right here. Even at the 1.0, $12,000. Superman Saves the Submarine, $6,000. You got the first Luthor right there that he's currently auctioning, which is pretty cool. Action Comics 23, currently sitting at $33,000. That seems like a lot of money to me. I don't know. Let's get ahead. We got All Select number 1. I love this book. This is a really, really great Schomburg cover right there. All-Star Comics number 3, first team appearance ever. We got an Archie number 1. That's kind of cool. That's fun. Batman 1, currently at $84,000. You know what? This has been a book that even at the 1.0, it's always been a 6-figure book. This is one's kind of an interesting one to see if it's going to dip below that 6-figure threshold. We got a Cap 3 right here. I'm in the Cap 3 club now. $21,000. I'm actually kind of happy because when I saw this book get listed, I was kind of sad because I bought the other one. I was like, oh man, dude, like maybe I should have been a player for this book. But if I'm being honest, 21,000, like at that price point, I'm going to buy an AF-15. You know, I'm pretty certain I'm going to buy an AF-15. Or 0.2 Bitcoin. Captain America Comics number 46. Got the classic Holocaust cover right there. Crime Books, Tech 27 and the 0.5 at $204,000, man. This is the stuff dreams are made of right here. Let's be honest. So if you guys don't know, this is the book that apparently the story is someone found this at a garage sale. They found it at a garage sale. And we did a video about it. And then they sent it into Heritage, sent it into CGC, got a 0.5, has the wrong back cover. Currently, this book is sitting at $204,000. What do we think the person paid for this book at the garage sale? Like maximum, what do we think that they paid? I'm going to say the most possible they paid was $500. And I don't even think it was that. I think like they paid $50. But I'm going to say like the maximum that in theory that they paid for it was $500. I'm going to say this right now. Are comic books good investments? Well, if you find a $200,000 comic book at a garage sale and you only pay $50 for it, it is the greatest $50 investment you have ever made in your life. And you will never beat that. So there you go. There you go. What else we got coming up? We got another Tech 29. We got a Tech 38. You know, some good text and stuff coming up. What about you guys? Are you guys interested? Are you guys buying anything here? I mean, I guess don't say what you're buying because, you know, you don't want people to know that you're buying it. Got to keep that a little bit of a secret. Got the first appearance of Archie coming up. What else we got? Oh, Superman number 1. So that one's also at 84,000. So we got the 1.0 Bat one at 84. We got the Superman 1.0, or a Bat is 1.5, both at 84,000. So interesting to see that. This beautiful AF-15. This is such a nice AF-15. Holy moly. 6.5. Are we going to get to the Miles Morales world? I hope so. Where is that Georgievich variant sitting at right now? Do you guys have an idea? Like, you see how I'm just doing this, like this click and drag thing right here? Is there a better way without me knowing the lot number, which is so annoying? Like, why would I know the lot number? Like, what am I, like, going to write this thing down without me having to do the jump stat? Is there a faster way to do this? This is so annoying. All right, let's take a look. So closing at 33,000 for the first Luther. That seems pretty good. Oh, God. That is not a good sale for All Select Comics number 1 at a 5.5. I think. All Select 1, classic Schomburg cover, 12,000. I'm going to be honest, I don't think that is very good. I think that is pretty weak overall. And you want to know why? Because at one point, I thought I might buy this book. And I was looking at prices. 7.025, 7.523, 3.016. Oh, 5.5, 12.6. Yeah, that is like, what happened there? 6.015. 4.019. 5.515. I guess it's not that much lower, but at the same time, this book has been going down. This is an example of a golden age book that doesn't always sell for more than its previous sale. You know, people are always like, golden age only goes up. Not all of them. Not all of them. All right, let's check in with you guys here. I don't know. I don't want to know how much he paid for that book at the yard sale. Whatever it is, it'll make me not happy. It's going to make him happy. That's for sure. They probably paid whatever the person was asking. True. That is definitely the case. I agree. The guy said, I have $100 in my wallet right now, and the sellers took it. Yeah. So I heard one interesting thing about what the right thing to do with that sale would be. And in a lot of ways, a lot of people are like, oh, you should absolutely tell the seller, hey, I don't think you realize what this book is. Let me give you $1,000 for it or whatever that is. But and in a lot of ways, I could see why that might be a good thing to do. But also, I heard an interesting theory, or somebody told me something interesting of like, you actually shouldn't do that, because what happens if you do that is that all of a sudden people start seeing dollar signs, and then it gets weird. And then they're like, oh, this is valuable. Okay, now I'm going to sell it themselves. And then they get it inflated in their head that they're going to, get $1 million for this comic book and all that stuff. What you should do is buy the comic, consign it to Heritage Auctions, have it sell for whatever it sells for, and then go back and give that person some of the proceeds. Now, let's be honest. No one is going to go back and do that. Because once you have the money in your bank account, you're like, screw it. You're like, no one's going to do that. You should, maybe, if you're a good, nice person. But at the same time, too, I don't know. Maybe the seller should look up what they're selling. I could see it all ways. I can see it all different ways. But man, that would take some good Samaritan nerves of steel to like, actually, after that $300,000 check hits your bank account, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to drive to this person's house with like $50,000 in cash and say, thanks. I don't know. I don't know about that. I don't know if anyone's going to do that. The Mass 120 looks great for the grade. It does. It does. That's actually a book that I would consider that one. But the problem is like, it's, I wouldn't even say that it's in my top 10. It's like a top 15 book for me that I would like to have one day. It's hard, because there's so many books, guys. There's so many books. Swag and that Tech 27 may not have been the only book bought at that garage sale. Imagine what else might have been there. Yeah, true. Like maybe it was one of those things where it was just a box of comics or like a box of old whatever. And the person bought this box for $50. You know what I mean? Like that happens too. So pretty crazy. Yeah, if you give them an idea that it's valuable, then you are out of the sale. Yeah, totally. Like I think it's I'm off to it. It's one of those like both people are going to lose out, That is anti-capitalist. Which part? The giving them money after the sale? It would be hard to look at them after they ask how much did it sell for. Yeah. Maybe you can do the thing where you just leave it on the doorstep. You just have a briefcase with a little note that says, thank you. You ring the doorbell and you run away. You don't think that Tech 27 was in a long box full of X-Force ones? It probably was, I mean, let's not sleep on those collectors that are hardcore X-Force ones and Tech 27 buyers. Probably a huge portion of the collector market. All right. What else we got? So we have this All Select Comics number 8 selling for $15,000. Pedigree copy, Promise Collection. Still to this date, the Promise Collection is probably the best Pedigree, right? I mean, it's got to be. It's got to be. Especially given the nature of it and being that these are like World War II books and all, like it's got the best story behind it. All-Star Comics number 3 selling for $9,000. Nobody cares about team books. Also, CBCS label. We got an All-Star number 4 for $15,000. 9.2. We got the all winners books right here. A couple cool books, some more Schomburg stuff. We got an Amazing Man Comics number 22. This one is a funny one to me. There's some real hardcore people that really love this book. And this one is genuinely rare. It is like 20 copies on the census. But it's so obscure. $15,000 for conserved. We got the Archie coming up, and then we have Batman coming up. Very interested to see what Batman number 1 sells for. We'll have to keep our eye on that one. How are you guys doing here? Let me check in here. Oilers Workshop, shout out to you. A bid on everything for me. Okay, I'll pay you back later. True. I trust you. Totally trust you. Checks in the mail. Nicholas, you are hitting on it, but there is a big difference between legal and moral. Legally, you owe them nothing. Morally, you should drop $20K on their doorstep. Yeah. Again, Nick, I think it's one of those, like, I can see it all different ways. Like I can just see it all different ways. And yeah, it's true. There's a big difference between legal and moral, Alton says that Tech 27 yard sale book was probably in a small box with other comics magazines sold for around 10 to 20 for the box. Yeah. I mean, you know it. I know it. We all know it, Alton. Like that's probably what happened. Dave is here. We can start the stream now. Good to see you, David. All right, where we at? Coming up on the Archie one, coming up on the Batman one. This should be good. Should be interesting. He's still in there. He's still auctioning. I wonder when he's going to get subbed out. I think he's got another 15 minutes to go. I think they do hourly auctioneer switchovers. Let me actually queue up Batman number 1. Let's get ahead of this. Let's be on top of this. Let's be a real comic sale stream aficionado here. Let's be prepared to talk about Batman 1 when it goes to sale. 148 universals, 312 total graded. So rare. If we take a look at the recent sales, let's see. The last 1.5, that was a fake thing. I did a video about that. The 2.5 sold for 156, a 2.0 102. And let's see, a 1.5.5, 1.8, 138, 1.8, 114, 1.8, 144. God, there were so many 1.8s that sold. Look at how many sales. There's so many of this. 1.8, 126. How many 1.8s went for sale? What the 0.542, 174. So we haven't had a 1.5 sale yet. A 1.5, 103 on Golden Auctions back in 2022. So, can this book hit 6 figures? Is this the beginning of the end for the Batman book? The end of the 6-figure days. It was always a 6-figure club. Now it's on Struggle Street. Archie number 1 in a 3.0 copy here, currently sitting at $18,000. This is a fun book. Shout out to Mighty Comics and Collectibles. I don't know if you guys know his YouTube channel. I actually did a recording with him. We did a little podcast talking about, market stuff and that whole thing. And I made the joke, about, I see it in my comments. Sometimes I'll do those videos, guys, where I cover like, oh, this modern variant sold for this, and here's all the FOMO and stuff. And I always see the comments will be like, what are these people doing? They shouldn't be buying modern variants. They should be buying such and such book or Golden Age book or whatever. And it's like, yeah, true. But like, no one is going to start comic book collecting by buying Archie. That was the joke I made with Mighty. It's like, just nobody jumps into Archie number 1. Like, yeah, let's go comic book collecting. Like, you have to be pulled in by foil and shininess and Spider-Boy, and then eventually discover Archie. It's the people that churn from the moderns that make their way into these books. And so Golden Age collectors, it's actually a good thing. You need new comic books and like modern variants and stuff. You actually need that part of the hobby to thrive, because those are going to be the people that later on you get to buy your bags. So, I don't know, something to think about. Got to root for that stuff. All right, Batman number 1. Here we go. We did it. We back in the 6-figure club. Wasn't even close. Not even a sweat. Come on, guys. Comics are back. We are so back. We're back. Batman 1. Actually, this is the next bid at 108. Okay. Come on, guys. It's Batman 1. Everybody buys Batman 1. 6 figures. If you don't have 100K to play, then Batman says, no way. A haiku by Swaggle Yeah, so this one's a pretty interesting book. 1.5. I mean, I don't know. A little bit of it feels like there was probably tape along the spine at one point, and then it got removed, taken off right there. So a little bit of wear on that. It doesn't bother me too much because, the tape's not over the main parts of the art. But I don't know, guys. I mean, I realize there's a ton of people that love Batman #1. And it is a really cool book. But I think I'd rather have Superman #1. But again, I started the stream by admitting that I like Superman more than Batman. I'm probably wrong there. I think Batman probably is a cooler character, but I just have so many childhood memories of like the Superman cartoon, like the old school Superman cartoon. I think I watched it when I was like 5 years old. You know what I mean? I just like Superman. What can I say? Although, guys, can we talk about this for a second? I'm sorry. I'm gonna get the last 2 subscribers to unsubscribe from me right now. The Absolute Universe is not good. It's not good. Absolute Batman, not good. Absolute Superman, even worse. It's not good. I don't like it. I can have my opinion. I'm allowed. It just feels like a what if book. Like, what's so clever about it? What if Batman was not rich? Whoa. Like, okay. I don't know, guys. I don't see it. I don't see it. But, I realize I'm in the minority there. And if you enjoy it, that's great. I'm happy you enjoy it. Most people seem to like it right now. But my prediction is that the Absolute Universe doesn't last. It'll get stale 4 issues from now. And then eventually everyone's just going to go back to the main universe. This is exactly what happened with the Ultimate Universe. Like, except the Ultimate Universe was actually better. It was good. It was well written. But I don't know. It's just kind of like okay, this is kind of fun. Like multiverse, like, oh. I don't know. I don't see it. But again, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. James, what? Blasphemy. I'm absolutely loving the 2 issues of Absolute Batman that have been released so far. Yeah, listen, I know I'm in the minority here. Yeah, but your option is wrong though. I get it. I'm just saying. That's just how I feel. Okay. And I could be wrong there. It's just my opinion. But I will acknowledge this to my point about talking about Archie. This is great. It's great that people are excited about DC comic books because we kind of needed it, People weren't really excited about what was going on there. So that's a good thing. Like, it's a really good thing that people are excited and getting into the story and stuff. All right. What else we got coming up here? Headed into the Captain America #2. You know what's funny about this? This book is so much cheaper than I always feel like it should be. It's Captain America 2. It's the second appearance of Captain America. But it's actually like quote unquote affordable. Like it's really not that expensive. I mean, this is a 9.2 restored 70. It's not even 5 figures, But I realize the problem with this book is that it's not a Schomburg cover. Everyone wants the Schomburg cover. But it still has, Hitler on it, people like that, him jumping in. It's the first appearance of the round shield. Don't sleep on the first appearance of the round shield. As we all know, Captain America had his the more classic medieval shield in the first book. So, there's that. The Batman book was good, but conceptually does not need to exist. I agree. Your feelings are valid, but you're still wrong, Swag. It's okay. We can all, hey, everybody gets one. Everybody gets one wrong opinion. This will be mine, guys. Okay. This one, this is mine. It's my cross to bear. Brenda Starr. Why would anyone want this book? The blonde girl, bondage, strapped to the heater. I gotta say, that's gotta be kind of painful, no? Like, those heaters are hot. Actually, it's kind of dumb. Oh, I kind of get it now, because look at it. She's using the heat to burn the rope. Is that what she's doing? Because it says, oh no, SOS. What is that? Wouldn't she be able to burn the rope? It's probably not hot enough to actually burn the rope, guys. But, hey, these are the things that sometimes we think about, when we look at covers. We think about the story behind it. I'm just waiting to get to Captain America, filling time right here. But what do I know? I mean, this is still a $15,000 book. Don't sleep on Brenda Starr number 14. Classic bondage cover. I never got into like the Matt Baker bondage types of blah, blah, blah. Maybe I just haven't matured yet into that type of collector. Perhaps that is down the road for me. But I'm glad that I haven't gotten into that because, man, those books sell for a lot of money. It's crazy. It is crazy how much the Matt Baker bondage stuff goes for these days. People really love that stuff. I mean, I do get it. I totally understand why people like it, but I'm just glad that I haven't been bit by that bug. All right, here we are. Captain America number 2 in a 9.2, selling right now almost at the 5-figure range. We'll see if we can get there. This is one of those tough ones because it's like, it's a purple label. It's got a lot of restoration on it. And always hard to evaluate this type of stuff. Calls a radiator a heater. Your California is showing, sir. Excuse me, sir. Let's cover that up. Oh, here we go. Got a few more bids in. 13,000. We got some Round Shield fans in the auction right now. Some Round Shield fans are representing, so that's good. That's good. True. Mike, first appearance of Morse code. First appearance of Morse code on the Brenda Starr book. All right. Cap number 3. I got a story to tell once we get to Captain America Comics number 3. We'll talk about it. What is it going to close for? He's still working it. All right. Well, let's, as we wait, how are you guys feeling so far about just the books, this auction itself? I mean, are we going to zero? Are we in Zero Town with these sales? Or are we in Moon Town? It's funny. It's like we were talking about the Bitcoin and the crypto and stuff earlier. And it's like, I don't know, guys. There's a lot of people that I think took their crypto winnings into collectibles, some of which were comic books. But it doesn't feel like we're having that this time around. You know what I mean? Like we had it that 2021 time and things were crazy. But even with, other markets like stocks and crypto and stuff soaring, it's like that money's not being brought back over to collectibles like it was that last time around, not quite there yet. And I wonder if maybe it's just going to take a little more time for people to go nuts again, but maybe it's never going to come back. You know what I mean? All right, Captain America #3. In my opinion, one of the greatest Golden Age comic books to get. First Stan Lee work. Bondage Schomburg cover. First Red Skull cover. Also worked on by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. All of the Power Rangers of comic books working on one comic at the same time. This is a legendary historical book, in my opinion, which is why I always wanted it, which is why I got it. And it's funny because I had been trying to buy this book for like, I don't know, 2 years, starting with the Bobby Blue one. I don't know if Flip Mode's still here, but Bobby Blue had one. They had a 0.5. I was eyeing that, sold for way more than I wanted to pay for it. And then there were multiple other times when I was interested in picking up this book. There were a couple ones that sold on Comic Link. There was a one that sold on Heritage. The one that sold on Heritage was restored. I didn't end up buying it because I didn't want that restored book, although I probably should have bought it. And then the Comic Link ones, I messed up because one, the first time I forgot how Comic Link works, and I forgot that the clock didn't reset. It was stupid. The second time, my computer crashed when I was bidding on Comic Link. I was so mad. And then last time I just won it. So I finally had it. So it was one of those books where sometimes you got to just let it. You got to let it fall into your lap. You know, I used patience, and eventually it found its way to me. And actually, it was the cheapest one of all the ones that I was considering buying. And I was actually really happy to get it. All right. So this one's selling for $30,000. I was definitely not going to pay $30,000 for that, but that's pretty crazy. You know what else is interesting about a book like this? So I don't know how to articulate like this idea, but I think that there's something to this, and I've wanted to do a video about it. Maybe you guys can help me. Maybe it would be something like sell-through rate. There would be some way to articulate it. But I feel like when you buy comics, there has to be something to consider, which is like how many of the sales are actually buy it now sales compared to auction sales. So for a book like this, when I was looking at it and thinking about what I wanted to pay for it, like this book, I don't know what it was. Like say in the last like 4 years, this book has sold 30 times, whatever it is. But the percentage of like how much this book has sold at auction versus buy it now was like 3 out of those 30 sales. Where am I going with all this? There's not a lot of people that say, oh, I want to buy it now, this book. Like I'm looking for this book, I'm going to buy it. Which means if I ever need to resell my book, reselling it, not that like, listen, if you price it right, someone will buy it. But generally speaking, it's like reselling it. Maybe I'll have to consider auctioning it at some point. Versus if you have a Hulk 181, you know, and you pay the same amount for your version, it's all proportional, and you price it right and you list it and you want to have it as a buy it now, like someone's going to buy it. You know what I mean? Like, is it safer and smarter to put your money into a book like this versus like a Hulk 181? Probably. But at the same time, if you ever need that money, it's a lot easier to sell the Hulk 181. You guys know what I'm saying with this? Something to consider. I'm not saying that those types of books are better to get than like a Golden Age book. It's just something you have to think about in terms of like its resale market and the liquidity that it has. You know what I mean? Question from a non-Golden Age collector. Why are we still giving a premium to bondage covers? Collect what you love and all, but what exactly are we saying about ourselves with that? You think that comic book collectors are not odd creatures? We're all weird, guys. We're all weird. Nice of old top 5 caps. Friends with Issues Comics. Yo, we live. What's going on, man? Let's see. Well, I'm just catching up with some of the chats here. David asks a question. Will Golden Age continue to climb as we hit the 100-year mark? It's historic, but is it worth the extra money? I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I think that Action Comics 1, even at, you know, one day when we all live in the metaverse and stuff like that, I think like, you know, there's always going to be people that appreciate its history and stuff. So I think that those books will always have some value, you know, but it's really education. I mean, you have to have more people collecting comic books because those new collectors are eventually going to be the ones that move to Golden Age. You know, so I already told the story about how it's like no one's going to start collecting Archie. Like they have to start with Spider-Boy, and then they have to move to Bronze and Silver, and then they have to discover, oh, Archie. Like that's just like the way that it works. So the question is, will Golden Age continue to appreciate? Well, will people continue to collect comic books? I mean, in a way, I think that they will. It's just going to be kind of different. I don't know. Yeah, I understand swag. Liquidation of older books is harder than newer. Yeah, if you price it right, someone will buy it, you know, especially if it's a cool golden key. It's just that the pool is smaller. That's all. You might have to wait a little longer. Question. Any new top of census books in session 1? Any new top of census books in session 1? Well, the Hero for Hire one was recently graded by MK. So that was a new addition to the top of census. I will say this, though. I think it's fair to assume that there are books out there that have still yet to be graded that could be top of census. Definitely Bronze Age, possibly Silver Age. Golden Age, maybe. So, yeah, it's certainly possible. You know, like just like in all the people I've talked to over the years, like just having the YouTube and talking to a bunch of dealers and just all the conversations you have at the comic shows and stuff. Like I've heard so many people tell me stories of like, whatever. It'll be like, we're talking about like the FF1 and it's like, oh, wow, it's the top of census, graded, whatever. And then like, there'll always be that dealer guy that goes like, no, dude, swag, dude. I know some people that have collections that their books put those top of census books to shame. You know, like, and I don't know if they're embellishing or it's sort of like, yeah, you saw his book and it looked clean, but like, did you really grade it? Did you look at the back? You didn't even take it out of the bag. There could be a big giant subcrease on the back, but regardless, there are definitely a lot of people and enough for me to take note that people will say like, oh yeah, this guy has like an AF-15 that like genuinely could be a 9.8, but it's raw. And he just doesn't want to grade it because he doesn't care because he's like a multimillionaire and he's just like, is not going to sell it. And he has no interest in sending it into CGC because it's just not a concern to him. So there are those books out there that still could be top of census, you know? So I don't know. I find that interesting. I've heard that story enough to make me believe that it's true. Who are these people? I don't know. There's also people that, you know, I've heard stories about where it's like, yeah, like, you know, they'll tell me like, oh yeah, this person is sitting on like 3 whatevers, you know, like Detective 27s or like people, there are people out there that have crazy collections, you know, multi-million dollar collections that are still raw. Not to say that it's like a 9.8 Tech 27, but it's just like, there are people out there that, yeah, they don't grade their books or they just are not interested, especially because you guys know, it's like, there's a lot of old school collectors that have these collections and they were collecting before CGC came to prominence. So like, they're not bought into the CGC thing. So there's a lot of that stuff. And it's been a big conversation too about like, oh, well, you know, are we going to get a big flooding of the boomer generation, like with their comic books? Like, is it all going to hit the market and stuff? And yeah, it's a big question. I mean, I don't know. The thing is like, it's not like it's all going to hit Heritage Auction at once. You know, it's not like every single boomer who has an AF-15 is going to consign it on the same day on Heritage Auction. So I think that we're all okay, but yeah, could all go to 0. Pitching change. They pulled him, guys. They pulled him. His pitch count was getting pretty high. You know, he made it through the Captain Americas. Let's check in here really quick. Captain America 3, 30,000, 26. We had the classic Holocaust cover. This is an amazing book. If you guys, I'm sure you guys know this one, but in case you haven't seen it, This is the one that is dedicated to like the Holocaust, and it's pretty intense artwork if you look at it and stuff. But this is always a desirable book, selling for $27,000. Cap 46. We get some more caps right there, and then once you get to like cap 54, post 1945, you start to get out of the World War II stuff. These books are not as desirable for the collector base because people want that iconic World War II stuff. We had the Challenger one. This is kind of a crazy cover. What is he doing? He's throwing a bottle at this guy's head. I've never seen this book before. The Challenger 1945 with no number. Origin of the Challenger Club. E.C. Stoner cover and art. He hit him with the truth bomb. First appearance of the slang term truth bomb. Got the Nazi soldier with fascism right there. The Challenger Club. Wow. That's a funny cover. Got him with the truth bomb. $10,000. There you go. You know what's funny? It's like I've been doing this YouTube channel for how many years now? 5 years. Obsessed with comics, cover all these auctions. I don't think I've ever seen that book. Or at least if I've seen it, I've never paid attention to it. And that's what's so funny about comic books. You always see new stuff. You always learn. There's always stuff to learn. We got Cameron in the house. What's going on, Cameron? Good to see you, man. Let's see. I think we saw that all over COVID. Most boomers are between 70 and 80. Yeah, it could be. Could be. It's like that was as good a time as any to sell your comic books, right? Like hindsight's 2020. So not everyone sold, but maybe that was that moment. You know what it is? I actually think now could be that moment, right? Where you had that crazy flurry, 2021, everything was selling. And then everyone, as things do, people are like, oh, my book's so valuable. And it's like, okay, sell it. But it's like, nobody ever does, I mean, some people do, but you guys know what I mean. And like, the years go on and like prices are coming down. You're like, damn it, I should have sold. And it's like, now I think people are like, oh, the party's over. Like maybe I should cash in. So I think we might be living in that time right now that people are selling their stuff and letting things go. And that's one of the things that like, we just have to weather that. We got to keep weathering that and that supply until eventually there's just enough people where it's like, okay, we're sort of done with the fire sale. But I don't know. Maybe it just goes on forever. It's just shipping to the grading company. That's the big fear, and waiting. I'm getting the anxiety to think about, oh, you talk about grading your comics and stuff. What you can do, friends, is if you ever find yourself at a comic con, sometimes it's kind of nice to just drop it off. You bring it to the con, go to the CGC booth, drop it off there. And then at that point, they're the ones that are liable. Granted, they might damage your book in shipping still. So it's possible. Gonna catch the rest on the replay. Thanks for keeping me company while I'm delivering the mail. Jeffrey, you got it, man. Take care. Comic Fan says, everyone on eBay are undercutting each other. Yeah, well, it's a race to the bottom, with a lot of those books, especially a lot of the books that were the spec books. This is why it's like anytime you have a spec, you got to sell into the hype. If your goal is to make money, your goal is to cash in, whatever, again. But yeah, it's always a race to the bottom at that point. All right, we have a few more crime books coming up, got some darings, and then we get to the garage sale copy. Detective Comics number 27. We're going to see how much money this person made. Absolutely insane. Crazy. Just got to check real quick. All right. Many boomer dealers are still kicking. They are. I mean, you go around, the country, you go to all the Comic Cons, the big ones. It's the same guys that have been selling for, 20, 30 years. A lot of them. A lot of the same dealers. They go to every show. They have these crazy collections. They're willing to sit on those prices of 2021. I don't know why, but they're willing to do it because they can. They just can. So it's interesting. And they probably just don't want to replace their collections anymore. You know, I think that there's a whole element of price memory that I think it's hard actually. Because if you're a dealer who remembers buying AF-15s for $1,000 and now you got to spend $15,000 to get a low grade, like, and you're sitting on 4 copies, like you probably just are just like, I don't want to spend $13,000 to sell a $14,000 book. Like that price memory hurts them too. So I think a lot of those dealers are like, I'm just going to put my number on the book. I don't care. I'm just going to sit on it. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting thing. All right, James, take care. Hope you have a good dinner. All right, here we go, guys. Oh, look at that. Jumped up to 288. 288. Getting a few more bids in for this thing. This is your entry-level copy for the first appearance of Batman. As we know, and I joked earlier, we had that awful copy of Action Comics #1. Sorry if you're somebody out there who ended up buying it. It was the 0.5 copy that was looked like it went to a public restroom. But that sold for $400,000. So first appearance of Superman, still the go-to book, still the GOAT. We had the interesting Tech 27 that had a huge haircut. I think it was like a 3.0 that sold for like $600K, but like previously it sold for like $1 million or something like that. So that was big crash down. And again, that's similar to the Action 1 that earlier in the session we had, where took a $600,000 haircut. So it's kind of interesting that it's like these big premiere books, like they're not getting. It takes a certain kind of buyer, right? That wants that thing. And even this book takes a certain kind of buyer. Like to me, the person spending $330,000 on this book is not necessarily like Jeff Bezos, right? Like Jeff Bezos is going to buy like a better copy than this, you know, or someone who's like extremely well-to-do. But at $312,000, this is like I wouldn't be surprised if like a comic book dealer bought this, you know, like someone who just always kind of wanted to have it and picked it up in their collection. It's kind of at that price point where that's sort of who I think is playing in this space. And when I say a comic book dealer, I mean kind of like a could be like a part-time collector dealer person, you know. That's my guess. Could be wrong though. $312,000 at a garage sale. That is quite the come up for that person. Congratulations to them. I don't know who it was that bought this at the garage sale, but man, oh man, that's got to be one of the best finds, best flips to ever happen in all of comics, right? Has to be. That's pretty darn good. So there you have it, guys. What do you think? 312,000? I mean, that's a lot of money. This sold for more than the restored copy, which I find kind of interesting because this is a wrong back cover. And then we had the one earlier in the auction that was like it was like a 5.0, but it was like a Frankenstein book that sold for 200 something. So it's kind of interesting that people really just don't like restoration. I think that is something that has changed in the hobby. And this is before my time. So maybe there's more OGs in the chat that could weigh in on this. But like, I think there was a time in the hobby where restored wasn't as frowned upon. I could be wrong with that, but I think people thought that restoring comics was like kind of a good thing to do. I mean, there are other hobbies where restoration is accepted. Vintage cars, you know, you restore them. It's totally accepted. I think that there's like antique things that people accept restoration in, like watches and clocks and like that type of antiques. People are okay with that. Comic books, at one point, people bought restored, and then I don't know, it could be the advent of CGC. It could just be the purple label. Like people are just like, this thing has damaged the brand of restored so bad that people don't want it anymore. Anyways, just kind of another interesting example of that, where earlier in the session, we had the restored copy that sold for less than this one. People would rather have the incomplete. I think it's like they just want to know what they're getting. You know, they just want to know, like, don't touch it. Like, this is the book. It's weathered the storm. It's gone through however many kids' hands over the decades, being passed around. And I just want that. I just want that. You know, maybe that's what it is. But there have been people talking about how conservation at some point is going to need to be a thing for a lot of these Golden Age books. And maybe that's the case. I don't know. I remember being in the LCS like in the 90s, and there was like a man, what would they used to sell you? Like, I remember my LCS had these, like, they would sell you the comic book bags, and was it the propylene or am I butchering that? You know, it's like the type of material of plastic. And then there was like the non-acid wash boards or whatever. And I remember my LCS owner like trying to upsell us to the ones that were like, oh no, well, these are the ones, like those ones that you have right there. Like in 15 years, those are going to be like bad. And it's going to, like, you know, discolor the books and all that stuff. It was like, we just bought the crap. We just bought the bad ones, whatever. And I just put them in those things, and they stayed in my garage, in my attic for 30 years, you know? And then when we go back to grab my comic books, I mean, my comic books, they look great. They were like perfect condition, you know? And so I don't know, like, am I wrong to say this? There's been kind of this thought that all these comics are going to just disintegrate. They're all just going to fall apart. It's like, are they really going to fall apart though? I mean, eventually they will, of course, but like, I don't know, they're probably good for another 40, 50 years, right? It's not going to like completely just disintegrate. Maybe I'm wrong. I could just be totally naive with this. What's up, everyone? Swag, always a great job. Been enjoying your channel for at least 4 years. Keep up the great work representing Montreal, Canada. Steph's Comics, thank you. Appreciate that, man. Maury says, restorers got paid in the 80s and 80s to restore books, and now restorers are getting paid to remove it. Yeah, so that's kind of what I thought, Maurice, where it's like there was a certain point where it was the thing to do. And actually, in my conversation with Matt Nelson, shout out to Matt, like I had him, he's a CGC head grader on the channel. And we had that conversation. I was asking him about like restorative techniques. And one of the big things is, I'm sure you guys are well aware of, is like cover whitening. It's kind of like this weird gray area right now. A lot of the pressers and cleaners have started to do cover whitening. And I was asking Matt about how CGC felt about that. And ultimately his answer was, they will just adapt to what the community wants, you know, and this is why it's important to have the conversations in the community and people can feel passionate one way or another about it. Because the zeitgeist changes. At one point, people are like, yeah, restoring is great. And then things change. And people are like, nah, restoring is terrible. Maybe we'll be in a place 20 years from now where people will want restored again, you know, and things just constantly change and evolve. And so it's kind of an interesting thing to discuss. And you say here, restorers got paid in the 80s and 90s to restore books, and now restorers are getting paid to remove it. Yeah. So repeating that. So I don't know. It's a conversation, and things change, and preferences change. And I don't know, could be a thing. Like I'm somebody who I don't think cover whitening is that big a deal. It depends. Based on the blue light that people use, I think that that's probably okay compared to, say, if we're bleaching it with like, you know, chemicals and stuff. I think that might be a little bit different, but it's no different, the blue light process, than the reverse process of what happens to your books if you leave them on the wall and they start to get faded over time. So I think that there's kind of an interesting thing there, and I'm more accepting of it. But again, I think there's a lot of people who are old school who really don't like it. I've come across a few burnt edge books that pirate ship, you know, kid shenanigans on the comic books. I have old school Tarzan like that. To me, that is priceless. You said some of those early restoration books, like the Veneer Gloss, I find those to be after just as oddity. Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, like over the, that's all part of the comic, it's just what it went through, the history of it, how people touched it, how people wrote on it, what they did to restore, what they did to remove. It's all a part of the journey of the book. And that's kind of what makes it interesting, in my opinion. Detective 29, 24,000, purple label. All right, we got the Pedigree copy, $50,000. First appearance of Robin, Tech 38. Seems like a good sale. I don't know what this book sells for off the top of my head, but let's take a look. See how they did. We can get rid of bondage cover. We can get rid of cap. We can get rid of this cap right here. Let's tune in and take a look. What do you guys think about this book overall? I always forget about this one. I don't know why. $50,000 for a 5.0 and a Pedigree. 50,000. So 7,590, 6,572, 5,568, 5,050. A little bit softer compared to the rest. 5,078. Wow. Look at that, guys. So in 2021, June, $78,000 for this 5.0 copy. Here we are, $50,000 for a 5.0 copy and a Pedigree label, which typically sells for more. Although Twilight Pedigree, forgive me, I don't know what that is. Not a lot of Robin fans out there today. Not a lot of Robin fans out there. A lot of Penguin fans. Everyone's feeling the Penguin right now. Actually, I'm curious about this. Tech 67. I believe that's the first Penguin cover, or one of his first covers. And I wonder if there's a Penguin FOMO going on right now. Some Penguin hype. Everybody really loves the show. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't started. At some point, I will watch it. Tech 27, 6.5 for $13,000. 6.5 for $13,000. Hey, we got a little bit there, 5,078, 7.5, 13,000. So now 13.2 for a 6.5, a grade less, selling for the same as the 7.5. Penguin Show doing work. Penguin Show creating some hype. Some Colin Farrell fans out there. It's time to sell your Penguin books, guys. It's definitely time to sell the Penguin books. All right, we got Eerie #1 in an 8.5, selling for $15,000. That seems cheap to me. I mean, granted, it's a CBCS label, but that seems cheap. Eerie #1, first horror cover. Really cool book. Also bondage, right? Got the girl in the red dress tied up. She doesn't have blonde hair, though. If she had blonde hair, it might sell for more. This might be a bigger book. But let's take a look here and see what these things are. So, yeah. CBCS, guys. I mean, like Jesus. A 7.5 sold for $25,000. That was just a month ago. In October. And this one had very minor amount of glue on the cover. A 6.5 fixed price on eBay sold for $21,000. An 8.0 in November of 2023 sold for $28,000. Could it really be? Could it really just be that we're so distrusting of this book? Granted, the hell is that? I mean, that doesn't look right. There could, this could have tanked because There's some foxing going on right here. And in fairness to CBCS, this is an old label. This, this could have been sitting in a pile and got some damage while it was in the case. I don't know, guys. That's the risk, though. That's the risk. There's no guarantees. But man, do you guys think that was an excuse? Like, is it just that like this has this on it, and like people are thinking like, no way, that's an 8.5. No way. This is a 6.5. But even then, I mean, it does look a little like, I don't know, like it doesn't look, there's a lot of tanning there, But even if this was a 6.5, or a 6, still $21,000 for a 6.5. Buy the grade, not the book. We all know what it is, guys. We all know the saying, buy the grade, not the book. Shout out to Automatic Comics. CBCS is trash. True. I'm sorry. I don't trust CBCS grading, in my opinion. Someone is definitely going to try to flip it to CGC. Absolutely. They 100% should. Because, like, again, it could just be that, maybe this is like not the grade. Maybe this was sitting in the case. Maybe it got, I don't know. So, like sometimes you put the stack of comics over top of each other. Maybe this was exposed to light and this one wasn't, and it damaged in the case. But even still, you get a 6.0 of this book, you're still going to sell it for more in the CGC case. CGC is harsh on tanning, but it's an old book. Yeah, they're definitely harsh on tanning, but you're still probably going to get more money for a lower grade. Presents poorly. Yeah, can. I mean, stain's pretty noticeable. Not that huge a book, in my opinion. Small pool. Even still, everything's got a price. But man, Eerie, just not doing well. CBCS, they got some issues. Do you guys see what happened to their CEO of Beckett? I'll do a video about it. I wasn't on top of it, but I'll touch on it. I think it's important. Red PSA label will match the red dress. Ooh, Neptune. I like where your head's at. PSA. Start sending your Golden Age books. I bought several CBCS books to get them for a good price, and I love the cases, which in my opinion is by far the best. Dan, I like the new CBCS cases too. I do. I think that their rebrand was great. I like their new labels. But, resale value is resale value. That's the only thing that matters. I know it might be callous to say that, but security be damned. It's just kind of where the world we live in. Shout out to 99 Newsstand. Hope I just bought CBCS. Let's rebuild. I just bought CBCS. Let's rebuild. Did you? Are you going to start a grading company? I heard that's where all the money is at. Hope everyone is having a nice day. Shout out to you. No, CBCS grading is trustworthy, and they have a quality case, but undeniable people have a preference. Yeah. It's really hard. Like, I don't know how CGC needs a ton of money. They need the capital. They need to go on a massive marketing rebrand campaign. They need an infusion of capital. They need to be shill bidding their own books and items. I know that sounds crazy, but they should be doing it. I'm say this right now. If I was PSA, and I knew I was coming out in 2025, and maybe a part of my rollout, I was going to buy an Action 1 and put it in a PSA case just to have it represent. And then I was going to consign it to an auction house. I'm absolutely shill bidding that. 100%. Like what we just saw. We just saw 3.0 Action 1 sell for 900 whatever K. PSA should buy that. $1 million. Like, consider it a
$1.5 million advertising budget. Buy that book, Shill bid it, and there you go. PSA sells for more than CGC. There you go. Make me the CMO. I know what I'm doing here. While CGC is the one that stays in the news for absolute F-ups, people just have too much money invested in their CGC trash and are afraid to lose money on them. True. Yeah. Yeah. The equal CGC is what, 20% premium to CBCS? I don't know if there's like a good rule of thumb, but it feels like it's getting more. I think at one point, like during COVID, maybe it was like a 5%, 5 to 10%. But yeah, there's been some real big discrepancies. Automatic says, this auctioneer seems to be flying through books. He's definitely going quicker than Brian. He's trying to go to lunch. He's like, what is this garbage? Let's just go. It is interesting because like with the auction stuff, it really does make a difference. Like who you get as an auctioneer, how much they're willing to push books, how much they're like creating the FOMO and the hype. It genuinely can get like 1 or 2 extra bids. That's crazy. Let's talk about this book right here. The greatest artist in the history of artists, Lou Fine. I mean, anyone who's a serious comic book collector, YouTuber, dealer, Golden Age fan knows that Lou Fine is the greatest artist of that era. And they would have spent way more than $90,000 on Fantastic Comics #3. The classic fighting robot cover. Look at how back in the day, man, you just have like burly, hairy-chested men just fighting robots, just back. That was it right there. Just grab the ball and chain and just smash this robot in the face in your very short shorts. That was how we did it back then. That was how they did it. I don't know if $90,000 is a good number for this book or not, but I would have tripled it for Lou Fine. He's worth it. Fantastic Comics. There you go. 5,000, 6,000. I mean, all jokes aside, $90,000. I don't know what the prices are off the top of my head, but goddamn, that's a lot of money for this book. But granted, this is not one that I've seen very often. This might be the first time that I've seen this. I've covered it in a heritage sale. I could have not seen it before. All right, Ryan says, I had it at 85K, so solid sale. Knight says 90K, ridiculous. Let me see here. Let's go back up. I missed a few comments. Cameron says, CEO at Beckett got found out he was attending titty parties or something. It's possible he was. I mean, that's how scandalous it sounds. Miguel, buy your own book back. I would. Let's be honest, guys. I think that you wouldn't be the first to do it. I'll just leave that. I'll leave it at that. Collectors can be OCD as well, and it's difficult to shift that mentality to another brand, which is unfortunate. Yeah, that's actually a really big point, Chris. That's true. It's like you got your books on the wall. They all say CGC. And then what? You're going to put a PSA one up there or CBCS one? It doesn't match. It annoys me. It genuinely annoys me. Like I have to, may not look like it, but like there's a method to like what goes on the wall in what shelf, in what order to me, and I have to like do the Socratic method in my head to justify just putting a book on a shelf. Like I have to be like, well, it should be alphabetized. And then I say, well, but what if I should organize it by value? Well, I guess I could do it by value, but then if I want to have it like, then it's going to be weighted towards the left side versus the right side. And obviously it should go from left to right because and I just do this in my head. And it's very, very important for me to do that. And then when I have a CBCS book, I'm like, I don't like that it matches. So it's going to go all the way to the far corner over there so that it goes like CGC, CBC. I won't bore you guys with the details, but I thought a lot about this. Shout out to Jebba's Creed. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. $5 super chat. Smash that like the man is smashing the robot. True. That robot guy got a lot of like smashes. He got a lot of super chats. $90,000 is a lot of super chats. But I appreciate you, man. Thanks for hanging out. Brian agrees with Ryan here. That's what I thought. This guy's moving too fast. I don't know. Do you guys think that like they got the signal, from the back? They're like, guys, this Action 1 didn't sell well. Let's get through this. Let's wrap it up. Wrap it up, boys. Wrap it up. Go home. Bill says BTC is about to hit 100K. Come on, newly rich crypto bros, get some comics. See, the problem, Bill, is that it's like, I don't know if Jamie's still here, but it's like when I look at it, it's like, yeah, I could buy an Action 1, but like, I could also buy like 10 Bitcoin. You know what I mean? I think I'd rather have that. Cam says, I'm going to put up first Spider-Boy at Heritage over and over and buy it back 100x the value. That would be smart. Pump up Spider-Boy. Pump it up. What if, like, we're all laughing now, but what if 30 years from now, we're all wrong? Like, what if Spider-Boy is the greatest character ever? And we just lacked faith. Ye of little faith. All of us. It's possible. Spend that BTC on Action Comics and Batmans. We should check in and be like, okay, 10 years from now, what do we think would be a better use for your money? BTC or Action 1? You're trolling Automatic Comics with that Lou Fine comment, right? Oh, we got some Lou Fine debates going on. Have you read it? It's a good book for young fans. Bill, you think that people read comic books? Are you crazy? All right, let's check it back in here. Human Torch. It's a thing, Human Torch. Lawbreaker Suspense Stories, number 11. The weirdest cover there is in all of comic books, guys. I understand that people spend money on this thing, and it is like kind of weird, and that's kind of why they like to buy it. But is this anyone's favorite cover? Like genuinely, like, is there anyone whose favorite cover is this one right here? Genuinely, like literally, no jokes, no cap, as the kids say. They're like, this is my favorite cover. If there is, I want to keep 10 feet away from you. David, thanks, man. Another $5 here. Are you ever going to work with the Lyria Comic Exchange Group? David, I'm going to be honest. I don't even know what the Lyria Comic Exchange Group is. So to answer your question, not at the moment, but should I look them up? Who are they? 99K. 99K. Here we go, guys. Here we go. If the Action 1 went on a sale tomorrow, maybe I would have been in the running for that. Man, it's crazy. It's times like this where it's like, oh, dude, like, it wasn't enough. No matter how much you have, it wasn't enough. You know what I mean? It just wasn't enough. Should have bought more. Should have bought more when they didn't believe. I'm like one of like 100 people that is actually a fan of Spider-Boy. You're definitely a day one, Cam. Like you are a true fan, like unironically a fan of Spider-Boy, which is, I think that's great. Actually, I do. We need, jokes aside, it's really good. Spider-Boy is really good for the comic collecting hobby. You have to have new people being new fans of new characters and all of that. You have to. It's so important. Because like if there's not, like we just can't be buying the old stories and flipping it to each other. You have to have new people come in the hobby. Jay, with another one, your least favorite YouTuber's favorite cover. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. $2. Appreciate that. I'm a pre-code collector and I do not like that Lawbreakers cover. Sorry, I zoned out there for a second. Yeah, I am not a fan of that that cover right there. But you know, hey. I do know that cover and enjoy it, but not my favorite. It's really perfect. It's a weird cover, man. It's a weird cover. But I understand why people like it because it is so weird. Like that's why it's cool. Like it's like, God damn. Can you guys believe there was a time where they thought it was okay to make this stuff? Like that's why it is. It's history in that sense. That said, though, I wouldn't want to look at it. Like it's not like, you know what I mean? Pick a Hitler cover. Pickle Hitler cover. Pickle Hitler cover. Is that the one where he has like the green giant head? Is that called the pickle one? Ricardo says, Mickey just got my copies of Sanity in the mail today. Hi-oh. You know, not to be braggadocious, but I did get someone who, when they got their books, they said, and I quote, Mickey, I just read through all 3 books. I love the journal parts on the beginning of each book. These are easily some of the best books I've read this year. These are fantastic, beautiful art as well. 10 out of 10. I mean, true. I trust his judgment. He's a tastemaker. All right. What was it? Yeah, just selling below. Oh, let's, okay. Stop talking about yourself, Mickey, and your own books. Let's talk about what people came here to see, the Pickle Hitler cover. Now, if you guys don't know, I guess I didn't actually know that it was called Pickle Hitler, but there you go. Green Hitler on the throne, fist pounding, the skull right there. He is not happy. He is not happy that Human Torch just burst through, punched this guy in the face, and is going to save the day. This is actually a really fun cover. Like, you know, a lot of his minions there. We got the skull minions there. Got the damsel in distress with the bondage. Him flying through with the punch. Fun cover for sure. 5.0 selling for $24,000. Shout out to Ryan letting me know sold for low. But that is definitely one of the Marvel Mystery Comics ones. This is definitely one of the bigger keys that people really like to get. Anything that typically has Hitler on it is usually, you know, like it's a piece of history. So people want those covers. And certainly the Nazi covers sell for more than the World War II Japanese soldier ones when we're talking about all the Schomburg stuff. All right, here we go. Mask number 1 in a 2.0. Beautiful 2.0. Already at $14,000. That seems like a really good price so far. I mean, by really good, I mean like it's doing well. Selling for well. I think a lot of people had their eye on this one. This is a nice 2.0. I mean, you have a little bit of wear on the spine and all that stuff, but for a 2.0 book, that's great. $13,200. I don't know off the top of my head. Mask number 1. LV Cole classic cover. Let's take a look and see. I think that was a good sale. A lot of people like Mask 1 and Mask 2. A 1.0 sold for 5,000. That seemed like, oh, I was looking at that one. I didn't buy that. Maybe I should have. 2.0 for 12,000. So yeah, that seems like it's pretty good, no? Kind of matching a little bit more. It's right in line. But a great book. Classic cover right there. This is one that's earmuffs, Ryan, earmuffs. It is a cool cover. It is really cool. But don't tell Ryan I said that. Tell Ryan that Mask 2 is way better. Oh, speaking of the devil, Mask 1 wakes up every day wishing it could be Mask 2. True. Swaggle, you should invite Ryan on the stream. I would. It's an open invite, but I think Ryan might be working right now. You know? Say that 5 times fast. Pickle Hitler cover. 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 I think I crushed it. Lol, just got a Bitcoin ad here. It's already happening. You know, it's funny. Like, this is definitely, wait, you took off today? Well, you want to come on? You want the invite? You guys want the invite link? Took off today so that you could, oh wait, let me do this, guys. Let me do this. Let me not dox people. What is going on? Okay. Let's do one of these. Let's do one of these. If you guys want, you don't have to. Oh, look at that. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, guys, and I'm just like, you know, looking at all this stuff. I guess someone bought something today. So congratulations. Any Dumb and Dumber fans out there? If you're not a Dumb and Dumber fan, then you're dumb and dumber. Jim Lentini, hell yeah, it's comic book auction party. We always got to have the parties when we auction it here. Let's see. Destroyer. What happened to the Destroyer? I think I went down a Marvel Wiki rabbit hole once where I was actually looking up like Destroyer. Because it's like, oh, they brought back all the characters like, you know, Submariner and Captain America and all that stuff. Like, why didn't Stan Lee's character make it over? And they actually did try to bring him back into the Marvel continuity, but like maybe he didn't do well, or like maybe like they just didn't want to do anything with him. But you sort of have to wonder, like, will Destroyer ever play a role? And actually, I'm going to lose my nerd card right here. I know nothing about the Destroyer. Does he have superpowers? What's his deal? Can someone tell me? Like, can he fly? Is he super strong? Is he just a dude? Is he undead? Like, what's his deal? But original Stan Lee creation. There's definitely Destroyer fans out there that are hoping, like, one day they're like, oh man, I hope the Destroyer gets hot. I'm going to cash in so hard. Swaggle as also Comics joined. Let's have a party. True. The people demand it. I'm as close to being off grid as you can without actually being off grid. Well, hopefully he's buying, you know, comic book collections in like chicken boxes and things like that. Shout out to Como Comic Books. He's got his 3rd annual Comic Book Con show coming up, Como Con. Go over to his Instagram page. Go follow that. You know, if you're in the Midwest area, you may want to make it out. Could be good. Destroyer was in a few Invaders comics in the 70s. Yeah, that's right. So I think I saw that because I went on the Destroyer rabbit hole. But I still don't know anything about him. Como says, essentially, the Destroyer destroys. Oh. How insightful. That's one of Stan Lee's best work, right? He's like, I got this idea for a character. He destroys things. I think I will call him the Destroyer. And they're like, print it. He's a genius. Actually, have you guys seen that Key and Peele skit where he's like, it's Jordan Peele's playing Stan Lee and he's pitching characters? Pretty funny. Pretty damn funny. All right, here we go. The real info. Real helpful, unlike Como. Peak human physical condition, skilled fighter and marksman, size reduction, super soldier formula, enhanced physical ability. So he's basically just knockoff Captain America. Well, no wonder why. Because it's like, you can't put him on the champions. What is the team? The all-star team? What was the team? Who was it too? They had this guy too. What's this guy's name? Oh, I don't know where his comic is. It was like him and Human Torch, Submariner, the guy from Marvel Mystery #1, whatever that guy's name is, but he's got no superpowers. You know, one of my favorite comic stories ever written was The Marvel Project by Ed Brubaker. So good. Basically, if you guys don't know, he rewrote the history and origin of all the characters in the Golden Age, but applied it to like, you know, modern time writing and kind of like retells the story of like how it all happened, how Captain America got frozen and blah, 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 and what the team did and blah, 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 and how the Human Torch was like the original Human Torch, like the robot Human Torch, not like the, you know, Johnny Human Torch. So good. And that's actually something like in my, you know, sometimes when I lay in bed and I lay with my bed sheets and I dream a dream of how swag can fix the comic book hobby, I think to myself, man, they should really do retellings of the original comic books. Like, it's just like how you do a movie. Like if you did the Spider-Man movie, you would do the Aunt May and Peter Parker and the Uncle Ben and blah, 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 and you would like do the origin of that. It's like, it would be so cool if you took like, you know, a great creative team and you had them redo the origin of Spider-Man with like new art, new story, but like, and just go through it. Like have issue 2 be him meeting Fantastic Four or going against the Vulture, you know, and issue 3 is him against Dr. Octopus. Like retell that story. I don't know. I think that's cool. All right, here we go. Joining the stream, making it a party. We got Ryan.
Up? How's it going?
In the house.
I had to go find my headphones. I haven't live streamed in forever. I was like, I sat down. I was like, oh crap, I can't hear anything. So I need to take care of this. So
yeah, I had a bunch of technical difficulties. This is my first live stream since the last platinum auction. Like I just noticed because when I was setting it up, I was like, oh yeah, the last time I streamed it was like months ago. And I was like,
yeah, I feel like it might have been like one of the Comic Connect sales or something. Like that was my last one. It's been a while, but yeah, this has been an interesting auction. There's been some stuff that, I mean, it didn't start good. That Action 1.
It definitely, like, that was pretty bad. I mean,
yeah.
Do you think that was like because like that copy, like it didn't look that good. It's a little bit like desaturated.
I commented on that, and that's where like I didn't look at enough Action 1s to know if it was if that happens, like if that's just some look like that, but it looked faded to me. Like it looked like it wasn't, the colors weren't amazing on it, but I mean, still it's an Action 1 and not like it me. It's the other thing is I don't know if because I was talking about this with someone else. I don't know if having that reserve hurt it. Like it kind of like it shows your hand, and if someone's like, if people know who owns it, they're just like, I won't bid. I'll go try to reach out to them and buy it directly. But
you know, I didn't realize that it had the reserve, but there totally is something. Like I don't know what it is. Like when I see a book that has a reserve on it, like I like don't want to bid on it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I agree.
It's like a weird psychological thing. But yeah, there was definitely some weak stuff at the beginning for a lot of those books that, like, I don't know, maybe they're just the ones that you expect. But then I was like talking about like, you know, kind of the more like insider hardcore books like the Tech 29 and 31, like those did really well. And then like, I don't know what the 1.0 for this first Archie is, but this seems like
that felt very strong. I had it going at 30. I mean, 43,000 for a 1.0 that's a big number. Yeah.
Like just from afar, it just looks like, oh, that seems pretty darn good.
Yeah. Especially because like Archie in general, just my general experience has been that it hasn't been like it's all that strong or anything. It's like this book is, but other Archie stuff, there isn't a ton of interest in it. But yeah, I mean, looking at what other sales have done, it's not like it sells all that often, but I think there was like a 3.0 or something that went for like 65.
Yeah.
So this was a big sale. Or
Oh, yeah, here you go.
69. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, 69 for the 3.0. And then I don't know, like, I mean, there just it doesn't sell that much. So
No,
it's like,
it's
of course,
almost always restored, if anything. Like it almost never comes up for sale.
Yeah. So that seems pretty, I mean, yeah, it seems like really good. 43. I mean, again, there's only 22. Like this is genuinely one of those ones that's like, 21. Like
it's
only 21
It's
blues,
probably the rarest of the big first appearances. I don't know if there's
Right.
another one out there that has that low of a count, but
yeah. So pretty cool to see that.
The Tech 27, the unrestored did really well though. Like 312,000, like that. I had it going for 275, and I wasn't sure if I was maybe overestimating what it could do, but I mean, it did even better. So
yeah, it is crazy. I mean, that one action one that was the 0.5 that sold for 400 was insane, but this still, like you said, this feels like a lot. And it's weird, like, because there was the restored one that sold for like 200 whatever. It's like people just really like don't want a purple label.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, I think is this a brittle page copy too? Like often that doesn't do super well on Heritage, and it didn't matter. Yeah, it's a brittle page copy too. And you know, I mean, it's just like, but it's it's just like that Action 1. It's the cheapest copy, like cheapest, that will probably ever be available. And so you're going to have the maximum number of people bidding on this, even if that's maybe only 15 or something. Like you're going to have enough people that can afford a few $100,000 or would be willing to get rid of a bunch of their stuff to get that.
That was like my thing is like, I feel like my guess of like the type of person who bought it is like, even if it's not a dealer, it's like someone who kind of is a part-time and you're thinking to yourself like, oh, like maybe I can make a play on this. Cause it's like, if you're Jeff Bezos, you're going to just buy like the nicer copy for yourself. But this is like your one chance to scrounge to maybe get it.
Yeah. And I mean, I was talking about this with someone else too. I almost bid on a pulp. I almost bid on that Shadow 1. Like that.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah. Like that was a cool book to see. But I mean, it's because it was really low at first. It got bid up some, so it went a little higher than what I was thinking. But yeah, it was right near the beginning. It's
at the end of the first session right here.
Yeah, 26.
Shadow 1.
Because it's the first appearance of the Shadow, which is who Batman is based on, you know, and so it's like to me that is more important than the Tarzan book, you know, like no one cares about Tarzan, but like people care about Batman, and this is like prototype Batman. So
yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. I mean, it's like the pulp thing is interesting. I mean, like I asked the question, we've like joked about pulps before, but like who is like the pulp market? Like
I think it's people largely just selling to other people, hoping to not hold the bag at the end. Well, I can't say for sure, but like, that one's pretty cool. Like, I mean, to me, like a pulp you're buying either because it has like a really cool cover or that's actually got like some significance to it. And so
it's one of those like they're pulps are cool. Like there's definitely some cool ones and stuff and that have some really awesome covers, but like it's already like a niche of a niche where it's like it's like only a segment of Golden Age passionate collectors who are like now in the pulp world. And at least in comic books, you know, it's still a hobby that exists where people are still collecting it. But like pulps, like you're not going to onboard many people into pulps.
Unlikely. Like, I mean, like I'm a Golden Age collector and I'm just like, I don't know. So I mean, like it's tough. I feel like it's almost only a shrinking market. Yeah.
John wants to know, what did you think of the Batman 115 sale? A little soft, I thought.
Well, so that one, I think if I remember, it went for 108. I had it at 110. So it went for like I mean, exactly what I thought it would go for. And it was a new record for
Yeah.
the book too. I mean, its prior record was 92,800. So I didn't think it was soft.
I mean, I thought that like once it went into six figures, it's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Like even if it's technically lower, it's like, since this book is still in the 6-figure club, I think that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, for a 1.5 with a book that comes up for sale a lot, like Batman 1 comes up for sale a lot, and
it sells more than ASM 300,
almost.
And same with the Superman one, where it's like it's at 84 now. I'm assuming that this is gonna go to 100.
I have it at 105. I mean, it's like it's not like the best looking 1.0, but it's a decent looking 1.0. It doesn't have any big pieces out of the front or back. And the back is also to me important on that book because it's got that, all red back that looks pretty cool.
Well, this is like another one of those, like, it's ironically kind of competitive because it's attainable for like the kind of hardcore collector that's like, oh, can I like pool together resources to get this?
Well, I mean, we saw like that Action 1 in a 0.5 went for 400,000. So it's like, I mean, and so an incomplete copy, but the person that asked, is there a price guide for graded pulps? Graded pulps are on GPA now. If you search for them, they pop into GPA. So yes, there is a price guide for graded pulps. It's granted, they've only been selling for less than a year, I think. So you're not going to have a ton of data out there, but you can get that data on GPA.
Yeah. We had a Super Submariner #1, 4 or 5 sell for 20. This is always kind of the one where I'm like, it's cool, but like, I don't know. If I'm going to get a Submariner, I feel like there's a lot of other ones to go for.
It's never been one that I've really wanted. I think it's a Schomburg, right? And I mean, but
yeah, it is.
Yeah, that one's never like drawn my attention that I've really felt like I needed or anything. Like Superman 1 would be cool to own. Like,
totally.
I mean, for all we make fun of like Batman 1 selling all the time, like Batman 1 would be awesome to own. Superman 1 would be awesome to own. Like I went after that Batman 1.5 that sold on my comic shop like a couple months ago. I was the underbidder. So I was upset about that. I went harder than I thought I was going to into it, but I still didn't get it. So
Derek says, remember that Action 194 that sold for only 575 in 2022 compared to the faded tape 30 for 800K. Yeah. Well, I feel like it's like what we talked about. The purple label. It's like you almost can't know like what's gonna happen once it's like restored, especially if you get into a world where it's like many versions of restoration. It's kind of like, I don't know, like there's so many variables now.
Restored, you've got to look at first, does it have the ability to potentially get back to a blue label? Like that's immediate, the highest level, like the best case scenario for restored. And but then once you get out of that, it's like you start looking at, it's like, is there trimming? And some people really hate trimming, and how much other stuff is on there. And like I often, like with restoreds, if it's not one that can get back to a blue label, I usually start at like a 1.0 universal or a 0.5 universal, and that's like the base value for that book, and kind of work from there.
Yeah. It was funny. I was talking about because I don't know if I don't know if we should say, I don't know if there's a lot of bound volumes that are going up for sale in this auction.
Yeah, the Silver Age ones. Yeah, right? There might be some Golden Age ones too, but the ones I was really looking at were like the Fantastic Four, and I think there might have been like a Tales of Suspense. I think First Iron Man. I think there was a bound volume.
Yeah, but that's one where you can math it out and sort of say like, okay, if it's a 0.5, like what are all these worth, and like give yourself a number.
Yeah, I mean, usually what you can do with a bound volume is you can look at like a 2.5 trimmed, and because that tends to be around the max grade you're going to get with it. And if it's trimmed, sometimes they aren't trimmed in there, but I think all of these might be. Oh man, this Superman 1 seems like it's going a little low, unless it's just because Brian's transferring over. But yeah,
they had to bring him. Oh, he's writing. Oh
no! I mean, I feel like that was a good deal. Like if I had $84,000, I probably would have bought that.
Yeah, Batman 1 greater than Superman 1. You know, I've been saying how I'm a total Superman stan, you know, and I'm like, just you wait, guys. Next summer, everyone's gonna remember how awesome Superman is. But yeah, that seems like kind of a lower sale. And Superman 1, you know, like we said, we make fun of it, but like this is still more rare than Batman 1 is.
I'm pretty sure it is. I feel like I see Batman 1 like every major auction, and Superman 1 maybe every other.
Yeah.
It's definitely more rare in Universal. Superman 1 is extremely rare in Universal. That's what makes that copy, I mean, kind of surprising that it went where it went.
Yeah, it's basically half the amount of Batman 1 in both Universal and graded. But yeah, let's see. 1.0 qualified. 0.5 was 84. Yeah, so this 0.5 complete
It went
on
for like the
Hakes
same price as the 0.5. Like that's, I mean, yeah, that's a great,
Yeah.
I think that's a great pickup. And I think someone in the chat said they won it. I can't tell if it's like a joke comment or not, but if they did, like AG won that book.
Wait, let's see. There you go. Hey, congrats, AG. That's huge. That's awesome.
No,
I think
awesome.
you feeling like you got a good deal there, especially since that 0.5, I mean, sold for $370 more than yours. So there you go. That's a big pickup.
Yeah, because I think there was maybe another 1.0 that had sold, but it was like missing like half the back cover or something. Like there was something about it that like this one to me was superior.
Miguel knows the game. Flip that sucker. You know what's funny is, and we make jokes about this, but it's like there will always be like a handful of these books we see sell today that, sure enough, on Instagram, you know, they're gonna pop up.
Oh yeah, it's inevitable. Like, I love this cover. Like this Super World Comics. Like I think this, like the colors are crazy to me for like, I think it's like 1940.
Yeah,
it's just such, it's always bright. Like it never seems faded. It's like they must have just like dumped ink on every single one of these, that they never seem to fade.
This is so fun. This one is definitely like, there's no logic to like this type of alien design, which I think is great. Like it's kind of that time, of that era.
His arms are thin.
You know, but maybe that's more accurate. Maybe aliens will look.
I mean, hey, they're in zero gravity. They don't need the, they don't need the muscles.
Do you guys think this alien thing is like legit? Like all this like Senate hearing alien stuff?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I want to believe.
But I mean, it's like, but people get carried away too. Like I remember I saw a post the other day where someone was like, "Oh my gosh, what's this thing that I saw in the sky?" And it was one of the boosters from like SpaceX, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a lot of crap that flies around up in our atmosphere now that it might be a little harder to tell if something's real or not.
I always think of you when I see this book. It's the USA Comics.
It's because it is the best Captain America cover.
Yeah. He's like full form, huge portrait of him. Definitely pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you never see this one.
No, it does not come up for sale. And I just won it. So it's mine now.
What?
Yeah. No, he was writing. Damn it, Brian. He's too slow. He's too slow.
You said it too fast. There's someone in the chat that was like,
well, I figured there was some lag. I was like, he's writing. I can say it now. And then
that was
my max bid. The
one time Brian's like, let me just push a little harder on a buck.
I was like, come on, I saw him writing. Damn it, Brian.
God damn. See, this is the variability of the auctioneer.
If it had been that other guy, I would have gotten it for like $2,000 less.
My God. Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, you did get another book earlier in the auction.
Yeah, I did win the Action 13. So I'm
Yeah,
pretty happy about
that's
that.
a cool one. That's the stopping the train one.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my favorite Superman cover. So
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like that, like, is there anything that like better epitomizes like kind of what you think of when you think of Superman, like an image like that, you know?
no, like I mean, yeah, like that's why I like that one so much. It's also it feels like a more polished image, especially for the early Superman covers. And so that's the other thing that I really like about it. Like
Yeah, like
the
that.
train has like, I think I've said it before, like train has like this Art Deco look. There's something about it I really like. And I
Yeah.
like the it's like up through like somewhere in the 20s, they use that diamond shape for the 10 cents. And that's the other thing that I really like about those covers. They switch to a circle, and I don't like the circles as much. But there's just like certain visual things that on those early ones that I really like.
Yeah.
Oh God, I am
Man.
upset. I am
Captain
upset.
Marvel.
I shouldn't have said anything. I jinxed myself.
You did.
Dang it. I felt like it was sitting on that for like 30 seconds. Like I had it. Oh well.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
We got some EC books here. Vault of Horror.
I'll say those
Bernard Bailey.
Those Gaines file copies, they did not do well. I mean, they were like a quarter of what their last sale was. Either I mean, I don't know what was going on. Like I didn't look at them close. Like maybe there was something wrong with them or something, but like those Gaines file copies have been killing it. And those were like all 9/8. And they went for
the crime ones.
Yeah, the crime suspense stories ones. Like the Frontline Combats did well. They went around what I thought they would. But those crime suspense stories, like their prior sale was like 16,000 and then sold for like 5. I mean, they were getting crushed.
Do you think they were the same file? Because the thing is, like, you know what's weird? It's like, how many file copies are there?
Well, you can actually see it. So if you go to if you look at the listing, they usually have like number/number, and it's like 7 of 11, and it's actually in the listing. And so that it tells you like there's either 11 or 9 or 6 or 12 or whatever there were. And that was based on when it was like Bill Gaines and I think like Bob Overstreet and one other guy, they evaluated all his file copies, and Overstreet graded them all like as like this is pre-pressing. And so like the one was what he considered the best copy, and then up like through the worst copy. And now pressing changes that, because you have a lot of them that end up as like 7s or 8s that are 9.8s. But yeah, so you can, as long as they come with that little label thing that, and they usually show a picture of it if you go to them, they you know how many there were.
Right. Miguel, what is the file copy? File copy is just the one that the publisher had in their database.
And in these specific cases, it was that the ones that Bill Gaines owned, because there are other file copies, but this is the only one that's a recognized pedigree.
AG says my secret bid was over 100K because of watching Ryan.
All right, nice.
Well, there you go. Not even close. You were.
I'm influencing.
Yeah, you did. You were a dirty influencer.
This Wiz Comics is going incredibly low.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like $100,000 book.
You could just tell like like Shazam, the Shazam and Black Adam days are over.
Yeah.
Yeah, $48,000. Let's take a look. Wiz 2. First appearance of Captain Marvel.
So the one that's selling right now is actually Keston's copy, that Wonder Comics 15.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
He made a video about picking up that Showcase 4, and he bought it, and then he sent books to Heritage to cover his purchase, and one of them was this Wonder Comics. I wanted to buy it, but it's going pretty strong. So congratulations for Keston, because I'm assuming that's he gets that to like cover his purchase. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. Let's pump it up. Shout out to Keston.
It's my second favorite Schomburg airbrush cover. I mean, this is a Crippen pedigree. I mean, this is a good book.
All these painted Schomburg covers are actually really cool, and like they kind of like get like they get a little bit like under the radar, but they're really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, 9's 9.4 is ridiculous. I don't know if that's top of census or not.
Yeah. So yeah, here you go. So this 2.5, 48,000. We had a 3.0 for 96. And then we had 3.078.
Yeah, let's see. Because I'm guessing maybe he bought the last this one when it sold last, which I think was 7,000, and it's up at 18. So,
Wow.
so it's doing pretty well. But yeah, and that Wiz Comics, it looks really nice too. It has a big tear on the left side, and that's why it got the 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah, the colors are really good on it. It's like really red,
Yeah.
but yeah, you see that little split right there.
Actually wasn't at first when I saw it, I thought maybe it was something that, because there used to be like every once in a while I've seen some where they have like thread in them, like they were bound in a volume with like thread. And I thought maybe that's what that was, but I think they made a comment in that one where they're just like beautiful copy, except large tear, left edge. But man, the thing's still going. 19,000. Yeah, I was definitely not in the running for that then.
Well, speaking of info, I mean, obviously Keston pumping up his own book over there, just of course he made a video about it. It's like, oh, I'm consigning my book. You guys should buy it.
I mean, that almost covered the showcase for. I mean, not quite. I think the showcase was like, because he sent a number of books.
Yeah. Well, they definitely, I think, doing some videos or covering that. I mean, it'd be cool even if Keston did it, just like talk about it. That would probably be helpful to a lot of people. Be like, what's the process? How do you go about consigning? And then like, what's the expectation too? Because it's like, you don't know what your book's going to sell for. So is it sort of like, all right, you're going to give us these 6 books and then you just have to write a check for whatever the difference is. And
yeah, because I don't know exactly how that works. I know you can do it, but I don't know if it's like you have to tell them ahead of time, or that you're like, I'm planning on doing this, or like you win and then you immediately have to like reach out to someone at Heritage and be like, hey, I don't have the money, but I have this stuff.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, can I just do that too? It's like, okay, cool. I'm gonna buy this action one. It's like, oh, I'm gonna start with giving you guys a couple Darkhawk ones, and then but I'll pay you back through consignment eventually.
Yeah.
And I imagine that there's going to be like, because you're still going to have to pay whatever it is, like 10%. So it's a trade-in tax that you're going to have to.
That's what I don't know. I don't know what type of, is there a different fee structure if you do it that way? I have no idea. But I know that like when I log into Heritage, every once in a while, they give me that pop-up where it's like, you can pay on like timed payments if you want. They always let you know, like that is an option you have too.
Well, Mighty, who is in the chat, he said that he had been getting more notifications from Heritage about consigning and stuff, and I think you even mentioned that too. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe they're in a place where
their weekly auctions are massive. I mean, they are putting through a large and so I think they're just trying to maybe increase their volume. I mean, because we had talked about that, how like the Sunday Golden Age auctions are like, it's like 650 books or something now. I mean, they're often ending at midnight or later. Yeah. And so
I always pay attention. I mean, you definitely find good stuff in there. I mean, you had like the Punch 12 like the other week, and there's always good stuff. Like,
yeah, when I was looking through them, I was like, nothing I'm really interested in. Like, holy crap. Like, what is that doing in here? And it's like a $30,000 comic, like randomly in the weekly, but it did well.
It's so funny. Like, if that's your book, you're like, why are you putting it in the weekly? Like, it's just, I don't know.
Well, especially when this was happening right afterwards. Like, I mean, like, but I mean, I don't know, maybe you're worried it gets like lost in the shuffle or something, but
true.
Or maybe you get a better fee if you're like, I'm willing to put it in the weekly and they take X%, but if it's in the big one, they take more. I have no
or it could just be someone just literally saying, I don't care, I want my money as fast as possible. Consign it as soon as you can.
Yeah, I mean, I have heard the payout takes a little while. That's one thing I've heard from people that have sold there, that it's not quick on getting paid from the auction. But I mean, when you think about it, it makes sense. Like, people already have like, especially for the big signature auctions, you have like 2 weeks or something to pay. Or in cases where maybe people are doing timed payments, like Heritage is having to front that money then. you know, maybe that they
yeah.
haven't gotten yet.
They definitely do that. I mean, like MK, I don't know if he's still here, but he had the Hero 1. That was the 9.8. And I think I won't disclose, but they gave him an advance that
Okay.
they're just front loading to consign. Wait, Ryan, they gave you up to 50% of the estimate of your items as an advance.
Okay.
Plus 1% setup fee.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's like I don't know what set yo fee is. So,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, setup fee. Okay.
Here we go. AF15, first one of the auction.
I thought
was a
this one
nice
might break 100, but it's not looking like it right now. Let's see.
Yeah, one bid
No.
away.
90.
Nope.
Yeah.
90K.
Because I mean that's a really good looking one.
Yeah, it's a nice one. I think it's got this chip up there that probably just like pulls it down already, but a little tanning. But really nice copy.
Yep. Yeah. No. Yeah. Now. I mean, yeah. Now we're in all the stuff people care about. I guess Silver Age. You know?
We're in the boring section here.
But I mean, there's like two
ASM1.
Yeah, there's two of them. There's an 8.0 and then a 7.5 right afterwards.
This is just like a screw your book type of thing. Where it's like if I have the 7.5 copy or even the 8, like I don't know what's actually worse because you think it's like there's people who are like, oh, I'll buy the 8.0, or it's like actually maybe I'll just wait till the 7.5, and then that hurts the 8.0, or does it hurt the 7.5?
I've seen it happen both ways. I've definitely seen it where it hurts the book that comes after, but I've also seen people like feel like they get immediate regret that they didn't win the first one, and then I've seen the second book sell for more, and that's a lower grade, and you're like, that makes no sense. But you're right. There's a huge price difference between the 8.0 and the 7.5. I don't know what
it's a milestone, like, or it's the what do you call it? The mental difference.
Yeah. Like I had the 8.0 going for 45, looks like one for 43.2, and then the 7.5 I had going for 31, and it's at 28 right now. You know, I mean, like that's a shocking price difference for a half a grade. But
yeah, especially if we were to really look at it.
For all I know, the 7.5 looks nicer, but I don't know. I didn't take a close look at them.
It's pretty nice. I mean, I don't know what the damage is on that, but the 8.0 looks good versus this.
8.0 looked brighter.
Yeah,
the reds looked brighter.
A little more colorful. All right, there you go. Well, I know that I would have paid, $10,000 more for a slightly brighter copy.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really nice Spider-Mans in this auction. Like there's a 9.8 coming up right after this. That one's already set a record. And that always surprises me and it's not like it's not super rare. I think there's like 7 or 8 of them in a 9.8. But anytime I see a Silver Age book set a record today, it's a shock.
Well, I think it's like a book like this, if it hasn't sold in a little while, and then this isn't like a major key that had any like FOMO movie spec put on it, then chances are
isn't it the first human brain or something?
Oh yeah, I'm sleeping on the first human
or the living brain. Yeah, living brain. Like
the living brain. The next Spider-Man villain.
I've heard he is going to be fighting Miles Morales. So
I mean, based on Sony and how they're doing the Sinister Six, I mean, maybe they'll put the living brain in it because it doesn't seem like they actually care. They're like, our Sinister Six team is going to be Morbius and Madam Web and I don't know who else we got. Rhino, yeah, you can be in there and just hodgepodge it.
So there's a question about the Tech 29. I believe the last Tech 29 that was restored could get back to Universal. I don't think this one can. I think this one has a cleaned cover, and I'm pretty sure the one before that, all the things in theory would let it get back to a blue label, and that's a huge price difference. That was, we were talking about that earlier. Like that's the number one thing for a restored book is if you can get back to blue. And it's all in theory, like until you've opened up, like I've seen plenty of times where, what's Sanderson Studios, he's like, we thought maybe we could get this one back to a blue label. And he's like, check out this like small amount of color touch. And it's just like
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
over the cover. And so they'll choose not to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, if it's like, oh, C2, small amount of color touch. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, what is that? Like a corner? I'll take off a little piece here, but then it could literally be like the entire character.
Yeah. Or like the whole spine.
Yeah.
You know, like there's definitely like C1s where it's like the entire spine has been touched up and you can't do anything with it.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past Sony to use null on there. You know,
Like the Sinister
hodgepodge
Six
of
battling
six
null.
characters with no Spider-Man in it.
Yeah. I still don't understand that. Like the no Spider-Man in any of those movies. It's just like they're all like
it's a legal technicality.
Is that what it is? Like even though they make Spider-Man movies?
So they have the Spider-Man license. Sony does. And with that license comes, you know, whatever character within that universe, like in the comic books, they can also use like Morbius and, you know, all these other characters that came from the ASM run. And so I think there's something in their deal where they have to use the license, which basically means make a movie at least once every 3 years. Otherwise they lose the license. So they gave Spider-Man back to Marvel, but that means that they still have to put out Spider products every 3 years to keep the license. And they don't want to let go of it.
So, but they still make this. Don't they still make the Spider-Man movies, like the Far From Home and that kind of stuff? Aren't those Sony movies?
Yeah, they're I don't know. It probably gets into the weeds. Like they're definitely partnered with it. So I don't know if that counts towards their, oh, you get your license restored thing. But if it doesn't, the reason that they put out these like Craven movies and things like that is like that counts towards their license agreement.
I keep hoping one of them is going to be good. I mean, granted, I can't be too critical. I haven't watched any of them, I don't think, other than Venom, like the first Venom movie. I think that's the only one I've seen. I didn't watch Morbius. I didn't watch Venom 2. I didn't watch Venom 3. Was there another one? Craven's coming out, but I can't remember.
Yeah, Craven's coming out. Madam Web.
I did not watch Madam Web.
Yeah.
So
it's
I mean,
really bad. It's like you have two people who have YouTube channels dedicated to comic books, and you can't even get us to go to your movie. Like that's
I just don't want to waste the time. Like I hear they're terrible, and I'm like, why am I going to go sit through garbage for an hour and a half or 2 hours? I can go watch something else.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this 9.8 Living Brain sold for 38,000, so it got even more bids. You know,
its prior record was 23.4, and I guarantee that was recent. Like that had to be a Comic Boom sale.
You know, you gotta. You know, it's like if you're gonna win the census battle and have the best ASM collection, you know, you gotta get it. You gotta get it.
Yeah, let's see. So prior record 23.4 was in 2021. It had a sale in 2022 for 21.6. So I mean, it had 2 sales around like the low 20s, and then this. I mean, that's 50% more. That's a big sale.
Well, there you go, guys. There you go. Comic books only go up.
It's true.
They only go up. Don't say the market is crashing. ASM 121 9.
This book has been surprisingly strong. Like I feel like that book in like 2019 was like a $2,000 book, or 2020.
Yeah,
and it's like, look at that, 5,500. I mean, this one surprises me definitely.
Yeah, but see, this is one kind of like what is the X-Men 101, like the Phoenix. Like this is like a collector's book, you know, where it's like, oh, say before movie stuff, before all that, this was like, oh, this is one of the books that is like the big keys. So it's like within the hobby, people.
It's definitely a key because of the story, you know. But it's just it's still like it went up a lot during the comic boom and just hasn't come down. That's just, you know, that's what surprises me.
Right.
And it's still getting bids.
Yeah, 6,000.
What did let's see what I had this one at. I had it at 5. I mean, its comic boom record was 9,300, so it's like it's come down, but compared to other stuff, not that much.
Yeah. I think there's the historical precedent, You know, it just people think that this is just, you know, story spec. Don't sleep on story spec. Now we have a book that is completely worthless now.
This one was sitting pretty high, right? Because I had it going for 17 and it was already at 16.8. And it's already over. It's at 18 now. So yeah. I mean,
you know,
some of these, like, I wonder if we're starting, like, on some of the big stuff, if we're starting to hit a little bit of a bottom, or maybe it's the Bitcoin. I don't know.
Definitely the Bitcoin. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, it's like, well, you see how like some of the CGC submissions have been down and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so like maybe we're getting to that point where whether it's like prices going up or whatever, like we're finally getting to a place where it's like, okay, maybe there's just less graded books that are trying to be sold now. So like, that's going to be one way to stop the bleeding.
Yeah. That's one thing
oh, sorry.
I was just say that's one thing I'd be interested in is how many, because I haven't looked at that, like how many are modern versus vintage. Like, has vintage dropped? Or has everything dropped, or what it is?
Yeah. I mean, they had that when they did that one CGC sale, like one of the tiers that they were trying to get was that vintage tier, which is like 400 or less. And if you just think about it, like that seems clear to me that there would be like, yeah, like who's trying to really slab their first vision that's like a 6.0. Like,
yeah,
it's like those types of books have really, really, you know, like people would just rather have.
They'll sell for almost as much raw. Like, it's like that type of book you almost don't need to grade.
Right. Which is why I think that $400 value tier is kind of like, it's kind of like a no man's land now, I think.
Well, I mean, I'll definitely submit a lot of stuff into the $400 value tier where I'm like,
sure,
let's see if this makes it through.
So. That's true. That's true. Although, you know, I did hear, and I don't know if this has been your experience, like I did hear from a friend who's like if you submit the 1,000, because okay, so I've had like some books that are like, say, an Avengers, whatever, and it's like, oh, could be like a 9.6 or a 9.8, and if it is a 9.6 or 9.8, then it's like, oh, maybe it's $1,000. But if it's like a 9.4, then it's 400. And so,
and that's the justification. Like, that's why it's like, that's what I tell myself to feel okay with my. I'm like, hey, what if I miss restoration? Like, I'm paying more then, and it's like, let them find it and charge me. So, but
I was told that if you do submit it in the higher tiers, that like makes you're insisting to CGC, hey, this is high grade.
Well, I mean, I know that's what people were talking about. Like when I made that video about those 9.9s, where it's like you had like Dazzler #1 that was clearly in like a high value tier submission, and you're just like, what is this? You know, like, did they send that in a high value tier with like a note that's like, this is why I put it here. This is a 9.9, you know, or something like that. Like, that's why that whole submission was so weird, because there were a bunch of books in there that if they weren't 9.9s, they should have been in the modern tier or at best the vintage tier. And then, but they were clearly in a high value tier. And so that's what was really strange about that one.
Now, I don't know what the price of this book is at this moment, but I'm just amazed that someone's still paying $5,000 for a first game.
Let's see what I had it going for 4,900. What did it sell for?
4,800. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, I'm sure its
record was 14,000.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I mean, because it's still a 9.4 first Kang, right? Like, there's
totally. It's still a cool book. I'll always have a soft place in my heart for this one, but it's just funny.
Like, you're a huge Kang collector, right?
I'm the biggest Kang collector, unfortunately.
Yeah. And Avengers 57, I had this one at 59. Where's that going?
Yeah,
that's right around there.
I'm curious.
It's a cool cover.
The Vision.
Yeah, I know you said like it's like one of those books you buy to like move to another book, but it's still like, it is a really cool cover.
It's awesome cover. It's one of the greatest, you know, like. But it is sort of like a it's kind of it's like a ladder book, right? Like it's
I understand that, like, because like, and you don't, I feel like you don't really realize that as you're collecting until you start getting into certain things, and you're just like, it's like the way that I watch auctions now, where I like just scroll through, and it's like a bunch of stuff that previously I would have maybe like been really interested in, and now I'm just like scanning for like 1 or 2 books, you
Yeah,
know, and
totally.
you
Totally.
definitely change your interests as you're moving through this. But
Yeah, for sure. But it's kind of the way to do it though, because like, you know, like maybe your budget gets bigger as
yeah,
your collection like continues to go.
as
I'm
long as you're
curious with
willing to
this
sell
one.
stuff. So,
That's true. You have to really be willing to sell. This Neil Adams 251 at 16,000 right now.
yeah, it had a sale like last year at like 33. It had one earlier this year. There was a Pedigree in like the last Heritage auction or 2 ago that was something like 28. And so I had it at 27.5. I figured it was going to keep ticking down, but yeah, it's quite a bit lower right now, but still, like that book, same thing with this, like with the Batman 232, those books were $5,000 in a 9.8, like pre-boom, you know,
Yeah.
maybe $7,000, and then they spiked to like 30 or 40,000. So they're really
Totally.
hard to tell where their value is gonna settle down.
Yeah. I think, yeah, like even a lot of the people said the DC stuff didn't spike as crazy or whatever. And it's like, I don't know. I think anything in the silver and bronze definitely got pretty crazy.
Yeah, some books didn't, but yeah, some like these did. These absolutely did.
Yeah.
But like this one I had going for 9. It's sitting at 96. That's good. If you
Yeah.
this one I have noticed the white pages copies get a pretty big premium over the off-white to white or off-white. They definitely get bid more.
Yeah. I'm definitely not a page snob, but you know, we've talked about it before where it's like, dude, like if I'm getting a 9.8 of like a Bronze Age book, like it would bother me.
Yeah.
If it said
I'd want
off-white to white.
Yeah, I agree. It's why like ASM 300, like if it's an off-white to white, it's not going to sell for what a white page copy does. It's just, it's too modern.
Yeah. And it's like, if you're spending that type of money, like whatever, like an ASM 129, you know, and I'm getting a 9.8 and it's set off white, like, yeah, it just, I wouldn't do it. I would pay the premium to get the white.
I love that Shock Suspense Story 6, the 9.9. That's off-white.
Oh God.
White pages.
Yeah. It's also one of those things too, where it's like,
man,
yeah,
because one of the guy who sold the Pedigree copy is on Instagram, and I know he wasn't too pleased with his $28,000 sale from, I think I remember from his post, and now you see why. That's like,
yeah, this shot, I mean, it just doubled.
Yeah. And it was sitting at 15. I don't know what happened. Like it was like all of a sudden it was like 2 people are like, no, like I'm gonna bid this. I'm gonna buy this one. Yeah, no, that's crazy.
You know what's wild? It's like 29 copies in this grade. Like that's like a $40,000 book. Like that's pretty impressive.
That's the type of thing that I often, that's what I look at with like that Ultimate Fallout 4 variant. You know, it's like there's like 100 and some copies, and you're just like,
yeah,
that's why it can't sell for 40,000. Like that, when you start multiplying those out, you're like, that's $4 million in 9/8. Like, is it worth that? Like, is the total value in that book that? And I don't see it. And so
there's proportionality where it's like you look at it and you're just like, I can't believe this book sells for this at that. It's like, it doesn't make sense. Like, can it really be that?
I mean, that's a new record for that book. That's almost 40 grand. Like a Bronze Age book setting a record that's wild.
Well, you know, it is a 9.9 candidate.
Other than that corner up there.
Yeah, just, you know, but we can hand wave away that stuff. And even like this, like that doesn't count, you know?
It doesn't count.
You know, it's fine. It's fine, guys. Come on.
I love it. It's colors like, I don't know if flip mode's still in here or not, but that's what I always laugh at. Like when they're selling books, they're like, it'd be a 9.8 if it wasn't for all these flaws.
Yeah. If it wasn't damaged, it'd be a perfect book.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the other one too. Like the fact that the 9.9 of this one,
there
the Cap 100, There's two of them, but then that one is like, I mean, this 9.8 looks better than that one.
It's a questionable 9.9, but I mean, the problem is like it's those were both graded in like 2001,
yeah,
or 2000, and so I don't think they took damage in the case, but it's like it's what they'd seen at that point, because when you had Matt Nelson on, he talked about that, like they do comparative grading, and if something looks like so much better, like they do take that into consideration. And
which is an odd way. Like if that was their philosophy, it's odd that they decided to make it that, because like you should have had the philosophy where it's like, no, our grading rules are our grading rules. Therefore, if there just is no such 9.8, like then so be it.
That's how I look at it. If there's no book in that grade, it shouldn't be there's. So what? Like then the highest grade is this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So
I'm
on the same
philosophy.
page.
Yeah, it's a weird philosophy to have adopted, back then. But I don't know, they're probably just excited, and it there's no way they could have expected that it would grow to like the size that it is. And like, there's probably just a lot of people being like, look at my book, it's perfect. And you're like, you're right, it's a 9.8. Like, so casual back then. I'm
going to turn off my camera for a second just to check if my wife called to pick her up from work. So,
All right. Well, we got some bound books coming up. Thanks for hanging out, guys. It's been fun. It's like some big sales here, some small sales there. It's a mixed bag. I think that's the world we live in now. I think that was to be expected. But
and yes, you did. So I'm going to drop. Appreciate you having me on.
All right. Well, thanks, Ryan. Appreciate you coming on. Go subscribe to Ryan, Automatic Comics. See you later.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah, we'll probably wrap it up somewhat soon here too. Maybe I can get through one bound volume because I am curious to see how these things sell for. I think they're kind of an interesting thing. But yeah, it's been a mixed bag of things. We started off a little bit slow with the Action 1 sale. Some of the other books too, I think in that section, you could say maybe underperformed, but some big sales here, some small sales there. We're just not in the place where it's like, there was a time where everything was setting records. And then there was a time where it's like everything is crashing. And now it's just some will sell high, some will sell low. That's just the world we're in now. Yeah, you guys are agreeing with me. Yeah, I totally agree. Every book should have the same standard. Yeah, it just makes sense. And yeah, if there's just not a 9.8 that exists, and there's just not a 9.8 that exists, it just kind of makes sense. Because the reason you have to have that model is that like eventually what happens if you find a genuine 9.9, then you just ruined it, because you made all these other ones 9.9s, and then here's the real 9.9. Like this has been sitting in the attic for like 50 years. So yeah, it's just kind of a weird thing. Yeah, I don't love the grade creep. I mean, we'll never know this, we're not in the rooms, we're not in the buildings, but it just definitely seems like it's the case that there's a grade creep, that this is like kind of like a top down thing, where it's like, hey, we should start giving more 9.9s. And even if it's not malicious, it just definitely seems like one of those things where it's like, they just decided that they got to do it. And yeah, there's creep in everything, in every industry. It's always creep. I'm a creep. There would be so much opportunity for parodies, comic book collecting song parodies. I did do one, the AI giant size X-Men thing, but maybe like, more like legit song parodies. I'm working on getting the 2001 Kirby 10 issue series bound. Wait, it's a bound volume that's up for sale? That's pretty cool. We got some FFs here. 7.5 FF1 selling for 78,000. We had this Daredevil 9.4 selling for 33. Still some strong numbers here in the middle of the auction, the later innings. Got the bound volume 1 through 20, and then the bound volume group of 3. Why is this one 20,000 and this one is, let's see, more than 6 issues of FF volume includes 1 through 24, introducing Marvel. Huh. That's interesting. I guess because this one looks better condition than this one. I don't know. $20,000, 1 through 20. So if you did the math here, and you could get 0.5s, FF1 still sells for $9,000, 0.5, maybe 8 grand. Then FF2, that's 19 comics. Let's just say they're all 1,000. Not really, but like 2 and 3 and 4 are going to be 1,000. So yeah, like maybe it's kind of 20,000 right in line right now. Let's start a band. Let's start a comic book band. We could be huge. We could tour all of the cons. We'll start a ironic parody comic folk polka band, as Derek says. And then, people could come to our shows and we could have all the nerds being like, I love it when you play that Giant Size X-Men song that's a remix of Hit Me Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. Giant Size X-Men 1. All right, we're not going to be that popular. All right. we're going to need a lot of work here. With all the current CGC issues, do you think PSA has a good chance at being the leader? I think that PSA is going to have a pretty big uphill battle, to be honest. It's going to take a long time for them to break through in a significant way because they're just habits have been formed. It's hard to get people over to them and to build this trust. I mean, look at this. We're here in the Heritage Auction. 99.9% of the books that have gone for sale are in CGC slabs. GPA is all CGC. Everything, like the entire ecosystem is CGC. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to get people to really on board to be like, I have a Action 1. I'm going to send it to PSA. Like, no one is going to do that. So can they eventually be a leader? Sure, they can. They're definitely better suited and better equipped than CBCS is. They definitely have the money. They're a richer, Collectors, I think, is a richer company than CGC is, or CCG is. So I think that they have the infrastructure and the money to compete, but it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long, long, long time. And even with all of CGC's issues, I don't know. It's a process. I'll say that. Common thing, Polka musical cruise. I think I've seen that in my time. What's funny is like, I mean, we're all nerds, right, guys? We're all nerds. Like, hey, we all like this stuff. But sometimes I go to Comic-Con and I just go like, oh my God, you guys are such nerds. Even I think that. I love it when you rap about Darkhawk to the tune of LMFAO. Oh God. I'm getting a lot of LMFAO like TikToks and Instagram reels and a lot of that, like a lot of nostalgia stuff percolating. And it's like, it's in there, and so we might be working on some stuff. Then you can get royalties from all the demand of cover bands that will be playing your parody songs. True. I think if they can get a hold of the card guys first with their mags, etc., they may have a good chance to take a good foothold. Yeah, I agree with that, Ozzy. I definitely think they're going to have a very strong base. People are going to for sure use them. And I think they're going to be successful. And I think they're going to be able to onboard a ton of card collectors and magazine collectors, and they'll be able to win that space. The question is, will they ever really be the premier comic book vintage slapper? That's going to be tough. Yeah, they ruled, man. That was my college experience. Yeah. It's true. I think if they did a like them doing a Coachella set, I think would go hard. Like for sure it would go hard because you have so many people in that age bracket, 20s to 30s, that were either in middle school, high school, or college, for sure would go hard. FF 52. God, this book, I still love this book. It's one of my favorites. I love this cover so much. I don't know if this is just like case debris, all this white stuff, right? Like it's a 9.4. That can't possibly be on the book. But man, the problem with this one, there's just too many copies. The census is too high for a book like this, but I love this thing, especially when you get to like high grade, all black cover. You're at the 9.4 range. I love it. Oh, Agatha all along. You know what, guys? Agatha wasn't a bad show. It really wasn't that bad. Like, it's not my favorite. And it's not like, I don't love the aesthetics. Like, I don't care too much about Agatha and like the witch, universe. But at least it worked. So I thought that, I liked it. And Death, Aubrey Plaza playing Death. I mean, hey, that's pretty cool. Maybe they'll have a thing with her and Thanos. Because let's be honest, Thanos is coming back. Josh Brolin is 100% coming back for Secret Wars. We're definitely getting Thanos again. So maybe they'll do something with her and Death. But I enjoyed it. And a 9.8 now selling for $8,400. What did this sell for at its peak? Fantastic $494. Fantastic $494. 9.8. Had to have been insane, right? Or maybe that's the record. No way. 11,400 in 2022. 8,400. Last sale 9,000. Still pretty good numbers, all things considered. All right, we got the bound volume here. I just wanted to see the last sale. Agatha was great. Yeah, I agree. Great casting for sure. King Thanos is what I want next. Do you guys think that they're going to recreate the moment in Secret Wars where Doctor Doom rips Thanos' head and spine out of his body? Maybe. But yeah, King Thanos was awesome. That whole Donny Cates run with Silver Surfer and Thanos wins, so good. That was really, really a good comic series. 28,000, Jesus, that is a lot. So yeah, the bound volumes, these are pretty cool. Like they basically, had all of the comics put into, as you guys can see, a black book right here. So the Fantastic Four Jack Kirby volume 1. So look at that. You flip through it and you can read it. This was like the original trade, before they ever made it a trade. But it's kind of funny because it's like, now you have all these holes in the comics right there in order for them to be bound. But you have 1 through 20 right there. So cool to see these ones go for sale, and a little hard to tell, but $36,000 for 1 through 20. I don't know if you mathed it out. Like, how would it be? But like, if you were to unbound it and all these books are going to get 0.5s because they have holes in them and stuff, would it equal 36,000? That seems pretty high, to be honest. But maybe it's not. 33,000. Not bad overall. Not bad in the slightest. Well, folks, we did it. We went 3 hours and 13 minutes covering the auction. I don't know. It was a good show. A lot of different sales, a lot of big stuff, a lot of, underperformers, some overperformers. The auction's going to go on for, a little while longer. I'll probably do some videos, recapping some of the sales. We'll talk about it. There's also the next session on Saturday. Maybe I could live stream that as well. And then there's some like really cool original art pages that I would love to talk about too. Maybe we can get the band together and talk about some of that stuff. We do have Ultimate Fallout 4 George Evans variant coming up. Let me just quickly preview that with you guys. $8,400 is currently where it's sitting. Man, oh man, this book. At one point, it was a $40,000 comic. Now it's not. And it did dip below the 5-figure range but did have a recovery, and it was selling, kind of at the 5-figure range once again. And it's always kind of fun and curious to see like how this thing is performing in these days. So we'll definitely have to report back on that one, see how it goes. But I'm going to call it there, guys. We're going to wrap up the stream. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to everyone who backed my Kickstarter. I'm almost done shipping out everything. I have a few more internationals, so that's why I got to end the stream now, because I got to go back and get those things done. But hope you guys had well. Congratulations to all those people who bought books today or picked some up, or maybe you had some sales and got paid. Wallets were hurt. Wallets were saved. And in the end of the day, we all had a good time. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. See y'all in the next stream.